5:59. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The basket Vols dropped in the top 25 polls that were released yesterday. Tennessee down to number 11 in the AP poll, number 13 in the coaches poll. Those placements were after a mixed bag of results last week when they defeated then top-ranked Alabama and lost to Kentucky. Vols in action tonight at number 25, Texas A&M. Tip-off set for 6 with pregame at 5:30 here on The Zone. The Indianapolis Colts are expected to name VFL Jim Bob Cooter as their offensive coordinator. The 38-year-old Cooter was most recently the Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator. And action on the ice tonight at Bridgestone Arena. Vancouver comes to town to take on the Predators. 7 o'clock, the puck drop for that. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning and a beautiful one in Music City and beyond. Welcome to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors right here on 104.5 The Zone as we revisit our conversation with the head coach of the Tennessee Football Volunteers. Look ahead to Vols and Aggies tonight in Texas and also have the quarterback discussion. 3 young ones that could be fits for your Tennessee Titans. Ooh. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for Life, Ramon Foster.
Yeah.
Welcoming back to the studio, our capitalized J journalist, Kayla Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
The show is whole once again. Mm-hmm. And our producer, of course, he's the best in the world, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world.
Welcome back, Kayla.
What's up?
How we doing?
I am doing well. I said I'm a little tired, from the weekend.
Fair.
In Miami. But I got a little bit of sleep last night. I planned it out well. I got home pretty early. I got to actually catch your guys' interview with Josh Heupel on the way back from the airport.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to go.
There you go. Nothing like a good break, though, and then come back and need a break to get back before you go.
Right.
That's
but
about right.
It's always good to have good friend time. Like in this business, we work so much that we don't really always get time for our friends.
True.
So when you can get your friends together and you all know you guys just like work out, there's no fighting, there's no drama. Like that's the way to do it.
Just
right?
a real one link up. That's what you call it. Just a
real
one link up. That's it right there, Kayla. I love it.
Was Ramon's dinner recommendation a good one? Did you end up going to the play? Okay, cool.
Yeah. I will tell you this. If you have not been to Miami, we did not have one bad meal. Not one.
Not one.
So
not one bad meal.
Not even lunch or snack was bad? Okay.
I mean, it was some of the best food I've ever had. Now, I love seafood too.
Yeah.
But they mix it in with a little bit of different cultures like Peruvian and
Cuban.
And it's real good.
You get that Caribbean flavor out there. Just Miami flavor. That's what we're talking about. See?
Cuban food is one of my favorites.
Is it? I can't say I don't. Man. I've had a Cuban sandwich, but I can't even solidify it until I go to like Miami and have a Cuban. Not the cigar.
No,
just to clarify that.
I'm good with that.
You and the Cubans are cool.
We're good on that one, I promise you. Yeah. I got scammed on some one time on a cruise as a young guy when I didn't know.
What's young?
23, 24, something like that.
I was thinking like 14 easy. And you're out there cruising. Like, what's Simone doing?
What lake would you have been cruising on around Ripley, Tennessee when you were 14?
No, but you know how you go on those cruises, those resorts, you get off at the stops and stuff. I bought what I thought was some Cuban cigars. Man, I broke those things down because it was like, this, even as a young guy, I was like, this ain't really good quality. It was a bunch of just shards of just tobacco leaves and stuff in there. And Cubans come whole leaves. So it's not like chopped up stuff. And I was just like, you got me. Won't get me again. And that's why I learned more about cigars.
Now you're a connoisseur, a cigar connoisseur.
You and Slay both.
Yeah. I enjoy a good stogie, man. I'm actually about to, I told you that membership at the place
Yeah.
I'm about to submit to. So yeah,
Just let me know when and where to be there.
No, for real.
I
That's
thought
gonna be
you
a
had a
good-
membership, Will, to one of these
I thought about it.
exclusive places.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting one of those memberships to
I got
one of those
busy.
cigar bourbon places.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool, man. I'm into it, especially. And this is my thing. I'm not like club bar guy either.
Right.
So like after a dinner or something, like instead of going to like a bar, which is not many just real bar,
Chill.
other than like going to something off Broadway or a bunch of college students there, I'd much rather go to like a cigar lounge or something. Yeah, Will, your people.
Oh, yeah. Will was telling us about his weekend.
I think people still look at me and just be like, oh, they're just college kids hanging out over here at this bar. I'm like, oh, hey, it's all right, perfect.
Oh, yeah. So somebody wants them to ask me about Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, yeah, you ran into him.
So this is how casual Miami is. South Beach is unreal. And I had never been to Miami in general. And so after dinner, now let me paint the picture. You don't eat until 10 o'clock at the earliest in Miami. You don't. It's very different. And so you make reservations at 9:30. You have like a little cocktail and then you eat your dinner. And so you're not done with dinner for a while. So if you want to do anything else, it's going to be a little bit later.
Yeah.
So we decided to go to this really popular steakhouse called Prime 112. Really popular place. It's kind of the who's who of,
Yeah.
Hollywood and
Be there.
athletes. And we walk into the bar just to have our, we have a group of girls with us and we walk into the bar and we turn around and here's Cuba Gooding Jr. right next to his now girlfriend. And he's just in these like Carhartt overalls, just chilling, watching Sports Center.
Was he?
Now he's got some stuff.
Yeah.
If you look up Cuba,
He does.
he's not in the greatest graces right now.
As of late, anyway, right?
As of late. But I will tell you
Yeah.
this: he was very nice, and he kept his hands to himself.
It's a good thing.
Go
Fair.
look. If you look it up, you'll know what I'm talking
With
about.
a new boot thing, he should keep his ass.
Now that is also De Niro's ex-wife
What?
that
Oh,
he's
wow.
with. Yes.
De Niro's ex-wife?
Goodness sakes.
No.
Oh, which
This is
one am I
correct.
thinking of? That
She's blonde. I don't know her name.
Ooh, okay. Run
That's
it
the
up
story
then.
for you.
So you
That's
just
usually
met
Hollywood.
Cuba. You didn't meet an American gangster.
No.
Did not.
But it's so funny when he said hello, like when we was talking, he had that raspy voice. Like, that's him.
That's him.
You
Like,
you
that's
really
exactly
met,
what it is.
You were closer to meeting Men of Honor.
Nirvana or Trey from
I'm just
Boys
going
in
down the
Hood.
list of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
I'm going down the list of things he was in.
Will
Okay.
you leave his IMDb page there, Will? I see what you're doing.
Trey from
Not even
Boys
on.
in the
I'm literally
Hood.
just on Google.
Jerry Maguire. Like, come on, show me the money.
That's what Travis said. So I called
Yeah.
Travis immediately. So we were there and he called me and I walked outside and I go, guess who we're sitting next to? And he goes, show me the money.
You know, if he'd started acting up, you would have been in a way of war. Okay, now
Look at you.
Will
615-737-1041.
You know what's funny? I read something. Somebody did John Finkel, guy that's been on the show before, did a history of that movie, Jerry Maguire, because now it's the agent time of the year. I think it's supposed to be about Drew Rosenhaus is one of the guys it's supposed to be about. And guys that actually auditioned for that, which I'm actually glad it worked out the way it did. Jamie Foxx and Cuba Gooding Jr. were both up for that role.
Really?
Cuba got it. And I'm glad Cuba got it because we got Jamie in Any Given Sunday.
That's true.
Whoo!
Yep.
Willie Beeman?
He was great.
Oh, he was great in that role, man.
He was really good.
Yeah, I used to think that's how the NFL was too. Maybe. Yeah. And that role was actually for, from what the thread said, Tom Hanks.
What?
Yeah. Or
Interesting.
it was Hanks or Costner, one of those two.
Really?
But by the time he finished the script, they were kind of
They
older.
recasted.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were aged out of it
Yep.
eventually. I think it was like a 5-year write-up for that movie.
They're like, nope, you look too old.
Yeah, a little
I
bit
also,
too old.
I went to the movie theaters on Friday.
You did?
To see the new Ant-Man. And it was good, by the way. But the movie about Michael Jordan and Nike coming out, Air,
Oh, yeah.
with Matt Damon
Can't
and
wait
Ben
to see
Affleck.
Forgot about that.
Looks unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really, really good.
I'm watching that one.
I'm not a big movie critic guy, but that one will be very, very good. I just don't know what's like good or bad. Like I'm like Andy Bernard in The Office when he's like, this food tastes good. This food tastes bad. Like that's basically me with movies.
Take the surprise out your voice.
But that one looks really good. April 5th is when that one comes
April
out.
5th. Yeah, that one looks
Nice.
good.
We haven't had many good movies. I don't know the last time I went to the theater.
I just go for Marvel
Me either.
movies.
It's all shows
Yeah, you
now.
do.
I
Yeah,
literally just go for Marvel movies. now.
Marvel. I'll wait for them to get released.
I think the last one I went to was Top Gun Maverick.
I never even saw
Oh,
it.
I
really?
went to it
It's good.
twice.
Yeah.
I went and saw it the first time and went, wow, this is pretty
Yeah.
good. Is it really that good? And then I just had a random day where I didn't have anything to do for a few hours, which is rare. And I went again and went, it was just as good as the first time.
It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
I
really
grossed
was.
$1 billion.
It's been a long time since I've gone to a movie twice in theaters.
Yeah,
Because I went to
That's
see
really pushing it.
Infinity
Yeah.
War twice
it is.
when I was still in college. But
I saw Jurassic World. That's what it was. The
Jurassic World.
newest Jurassic Park.
Movie I recently saw was Puss in Boots. It was.
Of course.
It was actually really good.
Was
y'all.
it?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you hadn't seen it, Puss in Boots is really good.
I feel like a lot of those kids,
Yeah.
movies are really good.
see,
Yeah.
I would probably enjoy that because Shrek 2 was
Because you're a
one of. Well, that, obviously.
That, yeah.
Don't hate on me.
You can't talk about Shrek
yeah,
on this show.
is gonna get the chat.
Oh, you don't
This
know
is
that-
gonna get the chat lit.
You didn't know there's a history of Kayla and Shrek.
Yeah, it is.
Did you never hear this?
No.
This was on the previous show. Yeah.
What
I got ripped apart.
do you not like Shrek?
I was like, no, I just never really seen it. Like, I don't really like.
Yeah, Will.
So what I was about to say was Shrek 2 is the movie I've seen the most in the world.
Oh,
Love
so
it.
now
Because when I was a kid, my parents were getting a new car, and I badly wanted the van with the DVD player in it. Because as many UT game trips as we made, I was like, I want to watch movies on the way to football games. So what had happened was they
What
said,
happened was-
I promise you, there's a point to this story.
Okay, I'm
what had
here
happened
for it.
was they said, no, we're not going to get this car. We're going to get a different one, but if you badly want to watch DVDs that badly, we'll just get you one of these portable little DVD players where it's like a little laptop where obviously like the bottom of it is the DVD player part and then the top of it is the screen.
Right.
And I had like 4 movies. I had Shrek 2. I had Racing Stripes, the old Disney movie about the zebra that becomes a racehorse, which is a crazy thing.
My God.
I've seen that too.
all right, defer to that
wild
instead of me.
I have The Incredibles, my
Okay,
favorite
that's a good
animated
one.
I would watch The Incredibles if it was on in front of me right now.
Yeah,
favorite
that's a great
animated
movie.
movie of all time. I wanted to be Dash because at that point I was just getting into running and I would just like run with my feet, just moving real fast like that. I loved that movie, but Shrek 2 is the one I would watch the most, and I would do like the little games, like on the little bonus features and stuff. Great time. But that and Harry Potter, The Chamber of Secrets, the 2 movies I saw the most. But that being said, the point of this is that was the debut of Puss in Boots was Shrek 2.
Love it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that took you forever to get to the point of that story, Will.
Why do you
My
think I'm a radio
goodness.
host? What are you
Good
talking about?
grief.
He has to literally paint every
Less
like
is more, baby.
detailed picture of it.
But I love it though, because then he gives us more history of Will Bowling. Because I'm thinking to myself, you said you wanted a car with the DVD player in it.
'Cause
and
I was going to watch you
Shrek
play
2,
football.
And I'm thinking to myself, how young is Will? How young is Will? And I'm
Well,
thinking to myself,
He doesn't know what VHS
and mind
is.
you,
Yes,
look,
okay, that's the other thing.
that's true too.
The reason why I watched Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets second most is my grandmother had it on VHS. So every time I would go to my grandmother's
Stop
house,
the press.
every time I would go to my grandparents' house, I would watch that and Inspector Gadget, which we
I
also
love
had on
Inspector.
VHS.
Penny's watch was like, I loved that thing.
Fantastic. But yes, all that to say, we had VHS, like we had tapes of like all of our home videos were on VHS.
Oh yeah. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Y'all hadn't transferred
Somewhere.
them over?
No.
Ooh. But yeah, Will, you said in the car with a DVD player going to games. I'm thinking that's Shrek 2 was 04, so you're right.
And the funny thing was, I was going to watch you play.
Yeah. Oh, this is
Okay.
prime.
I was watching
Now he's
Shrek
really
2.
making you.
I know. Am I old or
Making
he
you look
young?
old.
Which one is it? I don't know which one to take this morning. Am I old or
Hey.
he's young?
You're
Yes.
getting older.
Both? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's the answer.
Coming up next, we replay our conversation with Tennessee football coach Josh Heupel from yesterday's show, discussing staff development, wanting his assistants to get promotions, and the already good relationship between Joe Milton and Nico Iamaleava. Really good stuff yesterday with Josh Heupel. Coming up later on in the show, Brian Rice from the Sports Animal in Knoxville at 7:20. A big topic on Titans quarterbacks at 8:20.
Oh yeah.
And a few of them outside the facility right now that could be young, cheaper options for this team moving forward in 2023. And, of course, Ron Slay in hour number 4. Tons to discuss with Ron Slay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
SEC Network, him and Pat Bradley put out their top 5 SEC basketball teams right now. Slay had Tennessee in his top 5. They weren't number 2.
No.
Pat Bradley did not have Tennessee in his top 5 teams in the SEC.
Uh-oh.
So lots to discuss with him coming up at the end of the show today. But coming up next, Josh Heupel, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Our discussion with him from yesterday's show on the other side at Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Window Nation. And Window Nation has the coolest deal ever for keeping you warm, where you pay $0 down, make 0 payments, and get 0% financing for 24 months. That's 2 years, no interest, plus get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy with no limit. Take advantage of Window Nation's deep discounts, all while reinvesting in your biggest asset. Not to mention the energy savings for years to come. You can call 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com. And why Window Nation? Windows is simply because you can save up to 30% on your heating bills, because 43% of your utility bill is heating costs. You can increase the value of your home by up to $12,000. Get a federal tax credit up to $500. And if they are sticking, drafty, cracked, hard to open or lock in when they close, yes, you need new windows. And also, weather impacts your windows. Hot days and cold nights, which we've had of late, can cause caulk to crack, seal failures, and condensation. And Window Nation only uses the top-of-the-line materials, including mold spray and quad sealant. Toughest against all weather conditions. So reach out to the folks that I trust. That's 866-90-NATION, or go online at windownation.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Tuesday morning on our boat, Kayla and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Lots of Tennessee discussion today as the Vols travel to College Station, take on the Fighting Texas Aggies. Battle of 2 versus 4 in the SEC on the hardwood. 615-737-1045 as we get to your phone calls coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, our conversation with Josh Heupel on a number of topics, talking staff development, why he wants his assistants to get promotions elsewhere, and the relationship of his 2 new quarterbacks, Nico Iamaleava and Joe Milton. Here's our conversation with the head coach of the Tennessee Football Volunteers, Coach Josh Heupel. Between SEC Media Days, first game of the year here in Nissan Stadium, how excited are you guys to spend a lot of time with us here in the Mid-State?
So excited. It's a huge part. I was actually there this past Friday, speaking with a bunch of coaches from around the state at their high school clinic. From the time that we've gotten here, 2 years ago, it's been important to me and to our program. We've tried to be extremely intentional and spending a lot of time in the Mid-State. We got to own that area, and you can tell from the administration side of it that they want to be intentional too, with us having an opportunity to open our season next year in front of a lot of our great fans there in the Mid-State, and obviously SEC Media Days, really important for us to be there and get a chance to be around a lot of our fans.
And it's so interesting, Coach, talking to a lot of high school coaches in football in this area, just how many of these teams are running your guys' offense and want to look like the offense of the Tennessee Volunteers. And I'm just curious how big of an emphasis that's been for you and your staff to create relationships with a lot of these head coaches where you can now look 2-3 years down the road and feel like you've really embedded yourself in these communities.
Recruiting is relationships. It's time spent. It's being transparent in the communication process, making sure that we do a great job of evaluating and having lines of communication with the high school coaches, in the state. And we've done that here over the last couple of years. I think we're going to continue to increase our effectiveness of recruiting inside of our borders here. But those relationships are extremely important, and we've spent time and energy each recruiting cycle. I've been intentional whenever I can get out on the road during December and January and during the fall, making sure that I'm hitting, the state as hard as I can. That pays dividends here in the first couple of recruiting cycles, but I really think that's going to continue to pay dividends as we go forward recruiting the state.
Coach, that's interesting. Before you came on, Will and I was having that conversation. I was like, how important it was for me to get that, that big school in-state offer. And I'm sure you kind of run into that a little bit now, especially since the talent growth has grown so much here in the state of Tennessee with as big, especially as this Nashville area has gone. Have you kind of gotten that response from families like, it's good that you guys are coming to the Middle Tennessee area, West Tennessee, and, of course, locking up East Tennessee too?
Man, we've gotten such a great welcome throughout the state, but in particular in the mid part of the state here. The brand, the logo, obviously is recognized across the country, but I think it is something special here inside of this border. And the reception we've gotten from coaches, from our VFLs that are still living in the state, from our fans has been fantastic. And we started creating that positive momentum and energy here on campus, but throughout Vol Nation, and that pays dividends in recruiting. And I think you can look at last year's cycle and how we closed it out inside of the state, winning some big time battles. It speaks to the energy that we've created.
Speaking of big time battles, man, one group to me, of course, OL, the growth that they had last year. Just speak about how big it was for them last year, seeing Darnell right now be one of those top tackles in the draft, even, within the offensive confines that you guys had last year. And on top of that, what it's going to take for this group at springtime is that time of the year where guys start to separate themselves from, look, am I going to be a starter or, am I going to contribute in some type of capacity?
Yeah, really proud of the growth of the offensive line unit over our first couple of years, last year in particular. You look at the development of those guys, fundamentally, their understanding of football. It's a huge tip of the hat to Coach Ellerby and our offensive line coaches that do a great job of developing those guys. You can tell that they played as one unit. That unit's different. They all got to be bought in it together. They got to enjoy each other. They got to communicate at a really high level. You got to build that inside of that meeting room every single day, and really proud of the jump that we made. There's a lot more jumps for us to take at that position as a unit to become, the best in the country. You look at the development, Cade Mays last year, Darnell in this year's draft class, his potential to continue to move up the board. I think it speaks to what we're doing, like I said, in the meeting room, but I also think it speaks to Kurt Schmidt and our strength and conditioning staff, the physical development of those guys, position specific, and what those guys have done as they've moved through our program. And really excited about spring ball. It's an area where we got to replace a couple of guys. Jerome Carvin, somebody that maybe as many or more games than anybody at the offensive line position in the history of our program. That creates opportunity. That's the great thing. The tough thing about college football is 25% of your roster is changing over every year. So you got to develop those guys. We got some young guys that got to step up. I love what we're doing in our off season right now, but can't wait to get out on the grass with our guys here at the end of March.
Josh Heupel, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Coach, when you look at the relationship between Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker, how unique is that guy in Joe to have that close of a relationship with the starting quarterback? Just how unique was that entire dynamic between those two this past year?
Yeah, you don't find that in college football anymore. I think it speaks to who those two guys are, that they love and care about their teammates as much or more than they care about their individual success. It speaks to their ability to want to continue to develop. I think it speaks to the culture inside of that room, with Coach Halsey, myself being in there, and our young coaches, doing a great job of building those guys fundamentally. They can see themselves improving. They can understand, maybe what their deficiencies are, but also understanding that they're getting better at those things. And what we do offensively, have a chance to, when it's their time, to go play at an elite level and put themselves in position to accomplish their goals here in college, but also long-term too. And speaks to the culture inside of the building, that we're continuing to help support each other while we're competing really hard with one another.
And do you feel like you've kind of got another coach in that quarterback room now with Joe, and just the amount of football he's played and being able to watch Hendon in that role this past year? And how does that help a guy like a Nico Iamaleava learning the system with a guy in Joe that's been there and kind of done that with you guys?
Well, I think it's important that we continue as new guys come into that position room, that they, buy into and understand the culture of what we want to have in that room. Joe has done a great job with Nico of helping him get his feet on the ground, grow as a player. Some of that, this is how you handle things on the field, but a lot of it's just, how you continue to be a pro inside the building and push to be your best, the time and energy and effort you got to put into it. Nico's got a ton of growth. We're really excited about him and what he's done so far here on campus. Probably about 13 bowl practices that he's got underneath his belt. But Joe's got a whole nother level of growth that he's got left in him too, and really excited about what he's done so far this off season. But also, what's going to happen here through spring ball as he continues to push to become his best.
Coach, in today's football with transfers and just freshmen coming in middle of the year, how have you guys been able to kind of bring that group together as quick as you have as of late? Because last year was phenomenal to watch, guys just come in and play their role and make plays for you in different type of ways, like Jalen breakout season, just in general. So how are you guys been able to pull that all together?
Yeah, I think I try to be really intentional in spending time with them, help them transition. That's freshmen and transfers, new guys to the program. We got a culture where, we talk about being a great teammate, which is helping support the guys around you and demanding certain things from them too, but helping show them the way of what it means to be a Tennessee Vol. And so our guys that have been in the program, our leadership council, have done a really good job with those new guys and welcoming them in, knowing that at times you're going to end up competing with some of these guys for snaps, but the overall culture of it is really unique here. And then, this time of year before we get into spring ball, every Wednesday for us is leadership and communication skill development. And, so being intentional on some of the things that we want to make sure we get a chance to speak to our culture, celebrate the culture, and continue to help these guys transition into being a Tennessee football player.
And on the coaching side of it, one thing that's for certain too is when you're good, your staff or coaches are gonna get poached, and that happened this offseason for good reasons. How are you able to develop coaches also within your system? Because it's unique and I'm sure it's very complex on how you go about calling plays, setting up stuff situationally, and being able to promote within. How important is that?
Yeah, I think, what we do offensively, how we approach, how we think about the game is certainly different than most people inside of college football. And in that, when you are able to develop really smart, great teachers that care about, the young people inside of our program and want to help develop a man but can teach at an elite level, then you are able to promote from within and know that you got the right guy. I'm always going to go through a process of interviewing people, but making sure that we have the right guy. Really excited about Alec Abelin here, being able to promote him to the tight end position. He's done a fantastic job with our guys in a really short amount of time. The tight ends inside of that room have grown fundamentally in understanding the game of football. They're really excited about what's going on and being in that room with Coach Aids. So really excited about, who we have inside of our building. Guys are going to get jobs from Tennessee. You want it to happen the way that it's happened. Cody Burns has an opportunity to fulfill a lifelong dream of being an NFL coach, gets a wide receiver job. Alex Golesh is, fortunate enough to get a head coaching job. You want that, in this profession, you want people on your staff to continue to grow and have an opportunity to move up the ladder. I think it speaks to the success of what we're doing inside of this program that guys are getting those opportunities.
Josh Heupel, our guest this morning on 104.5 The Zone, talking about some of the recruiting pitches you guys have been able to make. I've got to imagine being able to pitch that you can practice a little bit and go to a bowl game like the Orange Bowl just a couple weeks on campus has got to be pretty nice. How beneficial was that for you guys to get that early evaluation period of a lot of your early enrollees?
Yeah, it's a jump start for them on the college experience. They transition into our program. They get a chance to see what the football side of it looks like, from meetings to practices. They get an opportunity to be in one of the biggest and best games in college football year in and year out when they go to a game like we did this past year. I think that's a really valuable experience. As much as anything, I think it creates a real urgency in understanding the complexity of the game, the speed of the game, and getting themselves prepared when they come back to campus at the end of January. We start our winter semester. Those guys being really intentional and hyper-focused on preparing themselves so that they can go out and compete the right way when we get to spring ball. Our young guys inside of our program, 18 freshmen, I think, close to 26 guys, when you count transfer portal guys that are new to our roster. The maturity that they've had, the focus that they've shown, and the willingness to compete every single day when they step inside of the building. Really mature group of individuals, and really excited to get on the field with them.
So, Coach, we had Josh Dobbs on our show last Wednesday, the morning of Tennessee's win over Alabama on the hardwood. Good to see Tennessee get the full sweep on both of those. But I know you got the chance to catch up with Dobbs while he was at Knoxville for the game. You guys talk about how many touchdowns that guy would have scored in your offense had he been able to play for you?
I did get a chance. I was sitting next to him and his dad courtside there. His dad definitely was saying, man, I wish he had gotten an opportunity to play in what we're doing offensively. Josh is a dynamic player. It's been fun to watch his NFL career unfold, and thought he played really well last year when he got an opportunity there with the Titans, and excited to see his future successes wherever that is. But what a great ambassador for Tennessee, the university, our football program. Really proud to have him be a VFL and represent us a great way, and really appreciate the way that he comes back and is intentional with our current players of creating a real bond with them and helping us grow as a program.
Coach Josh Heupel with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Coach, just on the way out, we really enjoyed getting the chance to catch up with Hendon Hooker down in the Senior Bowl a couple of weeks ago. We're just really impressed to hear a lot of the reviews from NFL people and getting to sit down with him and just seeing how engaged he was in practice, not able to take part physically, but just how engaged he was in every part of the practice process. Just where do you feel like he's made the biggest strides to make himself such an attractive candidate and prospect for NFL teams?
That is who he is. That energy, that in being intentional during the course of practice, being hyper-focused, like that's who he is inside of our building every day. You guys, our fans have heard me say that a lot about him. It's great that our NFL, the NFL had an opportunity to see it firsthand. They're out at our practices too, but it's different when you're there for an entire practice every single period. And for him, I think it's his football IQ, it's his fundamentals, it's his ability to create and make plays, it's his accuracy with the football down the field. Hendo's going to have a great NFL career. I hate that he's not 100% as he goes through this process, because I think he would have only continued to climb up draft boards as he showcased some of those physical things. But there's no doubt that, wherever he gets picked, he's going to have a ton of success.
So there's Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel with us on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And when we come back, we'll react to some of the highlights of what he had to say specifically about Joe Milton and Nico Iamaleava and his two quarterbacks who it appears have a similar relationship to his first two quarterbacks last year, which worked out pretty well for him in 2022. 615-737-1045, our number. More coming up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Lee Company. Are you looking to keep your home in great shape year-round? Well, you could sign up for a Lee Company home maintenance plan for $8.25 a month. This is a great deal because plan members receive 4 service visits a year from the Lee Company team of experts. You're going to get a heating system tune-up, an air conditioning tune-up, an electrical inspection, and a detailed plumbing inspection as well. That's 4 annual visits, $8.25 a month. For the very best in-home service, call Lee Company at 615-567-1000 today or visit them online at leecompany.com. Just search home maintenance plan to join their membership. You hear me talk about Lee Company all the time. They're nearly 80 years of experience. They've been serving this community for quite some time, and they're ready to help you 24/7. So get a heating system tune-up, an AC tune-up, electrical inspection, and a detailed plumbing inspection for the low price of $8.25 a month. They're online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Calling all Nashville SC fans, be listening this week to Ramon, Kayla, and Will to find out how you can win Nashville SC tickets to the home opener, the Man in Black match this Saturday, plus 2 Man in Black jerseys. How about that? For more info or to purchase tickets, visit NashvilleSC.com/tickets. Again, be listening to the show this week for your chance to win.
10 out of 10 Ramon Fosters recommend that you head to Geodis Park on Saturday as well.
I do.
For Nashville SC and
You're
New
going?
York City FC. It's a blackout.
Baseball.
Oh,
They got a big jamboree.
You can just pencil in Ramon to be at a baseball game for
That's
the next
true.
forever.
right?
For the
It is
foreseeable
that
future.
season.
What time is the game again?
3:30.
3:30? Yeah, I might be able to swing that.
There you go.
Don't make promises you can't
I know,
keep.
I gotta
Just
look at
like
the
when you
schedule.
said you were going to have us over for a barbecue
I'm
5
having
months
y'all over
ago.
for that. I'm telling you, we're doing seafood towers, okay?
Well,
you said, but you're
now
not a
I got
huge
high
barbecue.
standards from coming from Miami.
We'll have to do steaks because you're like, barbecue ain't your thing. So I'm like, okay.
No, barbecue ain't my thing.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
really not. Yeah,
Don't
no.
at me.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. So I got to make sure whatever we do correct. So I got you.
Man, don't like Shrek, don't like barbecue. What's going on?
So, yeah.
But breaking news, I'm not from here.
Not either.
Feel
You
me?
can like Shrek be
No,
anywhere in the
don't
country.
bring up Shrek again. Shrek's in the past.
Tell him.
And you know what? Go if you want to see the Shrek 2.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go on Twitter because both the Shrek 2 is out in 2 different parts.
Kayla said,
Thanks,
this is
Twitter
my
Blue.
swamp. This is my
turn.
It's my swamp.
My
donkey.
turn. Shut you down.
To the phones. 615-737-1045. Jason leads us off this morning. What's going on, Jason?
What's up, Jason?
Hey guys, I love the show, and I don't think I've called in since Kayla's been there, but Kayla, you're doing an amazing job. So
Thanks, Jason.
I've had some health issues, and I've been off work, and so I've just been at home. But hey, one thing that Josh Heupel kept saying, and I'm 50 years old, and for many years of my life, I handled relationships because I was so busy. I would hit the high spots. It's what I call it.
Yeah.
And then I heard someone say one time, let's be intentional. So I might not be able to spend a lot of time with you, per se, but if I'm whatever time I'm able to spend with you, it's going to be intentional. Mm-hmm. There's going to be something for it. And that's what builds relationships. And my friendships has been so much better. Been married for 30 years. My marriage is better now than it's ever been.
Nice.
Because we're intentional. Both of us are. She is, and so am I. So being intentional, and he just kept coming to that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that is a recipe for success.
Yeah.
And no matter where you go in life. Now, with that being said, I do have a question for Ramon Foster.
I'm here for it.
Now, I played football, and I coached for like 12 years. And, yeah, it was easy. To me, if we can pick up a defensive coordinator, we can pick up an offensive coordinator, we can do this. But this is something that I've never been able to figure out because I think the Titans should have got a new strength and conditioning coach this year, which they didn't. But how do you go and find the strength and conditioning coach that you need to help your program? And I'll hang up and listen.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Man, that was good
Thank you,
right
Jason.
there.
Appreciate the
Strength
call.
and conditioning coaches are so vital to a team. Historically, I've had really 2 good guys, Johnny Long in Knoxville and Garrett Guimont in Pittsburgh. Both lifetime guys with me. They were over there for the stretch of the time with my coaches and have been or still are. Johnny Long, the way Tennessee was with how the SEC is, you got to have a guy that knows how to go hard enough but know how to pull back whenever it's time to get ready for games.
Yep.
Like the knowledge of where your team is. I think they got rid of Johnny whenever Butch came in, and whoever they had in place was more of an aerobics, non-Olympic style lifting guy, not as much as the way you need to be in the SEC. I say this, for teams that are looking for a strength and conditioning coach, who are you playing against the most? What do you need to do against those guys? In the SEC, we need to be able to just go hard, be strong, be bigger guys. And that's to this day, too, now in the SEC. For the NFL, for the Titans, I will look at guys and say, give me somebody that knows how to keep my guys healthy, but also push them. Thing about NFL strength and conditioning coaches is this. You're not really paid to get the guys stronger. You're paid to keep them healthy. It's injury prevention for guys in the NFL. They most of the times go to different places to train.
Right.
Yeah.
You're secondary almost in a sense, but day-to-day, in-season stuff, you got to be able to have a guy that knows how to maintenance those guys on a week-to-week, injury-by-injury basis in the NFL. So it's a matter of experience. It's a matter of communication also with the strength and conditioning coach in the NFL.
The thing about college and weight staffs in college, and I can speak to this just from the sport that I did at Tennessee.
Yeah.
In any sport, especially in the ones that we did, this is actually where what I did and what you did were most similar. Your team is so big and the staff is so big that the freshmen are going to spend more time with the strength coach than they are even their head coach, and it's not even really close.
Not even.
In college, the strength coach is almost there as much to change the physical makeup of your incoming guys and your freshmen. Because even when you're a junior or senior, then you're just sustaining what you've already built.
Yes, sir.
You're not really going to change your body all that much from your junior to senior year as much as you are your freshman to sophomore year.
Yep.
You're going to make probably, 2/3 of your growth really in that first season that you're there.
So important.
And then that's getting used to just like the energy level that you need to go to weight. Like you're figuring out the process of practice.
Yeah.
And you spend, even in track, like we would spend so much more time with Barry Kane, our weight coach, our strength coach, than we would our head coach.
Yeah. That's how
And
it
we
goes.
were different because our head coach was our
Little
position
Barry?
coach too. Oh, Barry's the GOAT. You knew Barry too?
Yeah, I knew Barry. Barry was
Oh
there.
my
He was
gosh.
football before he went with y'all.
So I told Barry when I left that I was and please don't do the quick math on this, that I was the only athlete he's ever had. This is a true story, who could do 10 times more pull-ups when I left the team than when I got there.
Wow. That's
10 times more. I'm gonna
Did
just
you get
let
a
the
blue
math
ribbon
of
for
that
that?
go unsaid.
You get a blue ribbon for
I
that?
crowned myself on that. I didn't have much to crown myself on.
So
on
you
my-
were able to do 10 by the time you left then, right?
That's correct. Like I said, don't linger too long on the math.
He could only get one. I'm okay
What are
with
we
that.
back in
I could
elementary
only get
school
three.
when we did the
This is college.
the testing? No, I'm joking. I know. Remember when we used to test
Excuse
in
me?
elementary
There are
school?
plenty of people.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
and you had to do pull-ups
I
and
could
like the stretching drill, and then you had to do like the cone drill.
There are plenty of people listening to the sound of my voice that can't do a pull-up. That one pull-up is not that bad.
No, it was not that bad. At least you get one.
I was a distance runner. There was no anyway.
Well,
There
you
was not a
better
big
be in the
reason for us
gym.
to-
Well, you better be in the gym.
What do you think I do every day?
Sakes. Get him, Kayla. Get him, Kayla. With that being
Take
said,
a surprise
though,
out your voice.
NFL strength and condition coaches need to be very smart and people persons
There you go.
also. 100%. That's what you're looking for.
You're the one bringing it back this time. I'm proud of you.
Hey.
Wow, you're
Because I
growing
had
up.
to answer the question for Jason. That was a very good question by him. Like, how do you pick a strength and conditioning coach in the NFL? Because most guys have their own trainers.
Sure.
You just got to be able to be more knowledgeable than anybody as far as what a guy needs and don't need. And it also goes to load management, too.
Absolutely.
That may be an avenue in which the Titans have to decide to walk into more is load management.
And what I'm looking for specifically this year are those key players that have had the injuries, that have had reoccurring injuries. What have they done?
defenders.
Yeah, what have they done in the offseason to maybe help themselves? That's going to be interesting to see.
615-737-1045, our number. And coming up next, a big one tonight for Tennessee on the road in College Station. Not a game that we would have circled at the beginning of the SEC basketball schedule, but certainly one that means a lot to both teams. We'll update the injury update from Tennessee, the status of Josiah Jordan-James and Julian Phillips, and their status going into tonight's contest. Coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The basket Vols dropped in the top 25 polls that were released yesterday. Tennessee down to 11 in the AP poll, 13 in the coaches poll. Those placements after a mixed bag of results last week when they defeated then top-ranked Alabama and lost to Kentucky. The Vols in action tonight at number 25 Texas A&M. Tip-off set for 6 o'clock, pregame 5:30 here on The Zone. To the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts are expected to name VFL Jim Bob Cooter as their offensive coordinator. The 38-year-old was most recently the Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator. To the ice, Vancouver at Nashville Bridgestone Arena this evening, 7 o'clock, the puck drop. College baseball, number 3 Tennessee, their home opener this afternoon against Alabama A&M. First pitch 3:30. Number 10 Vanderbilt, their home opener at Hawkins Field, hosting Central Arkansas, 4:30 the first pitch for that. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on the Tuesday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors, and the crew is all here. Once again, Brian Rice of the Sports Animal joining us in 15 minutes. We'll talk to him about Tennessee's loss in Rupp Arena over the weekend and a big one tonight in College Station. You don't think about College Station as hosting big basketball games, but it hosts a ranked matchup tonight in the Southeastern Conference. Alongside Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Jonathan Schaefer, our producer.
The best producer in the world!
There it
Of
is.
the world, Craig. The world.
I'm Will Bowling.
Yeah, you are.
I am.
Will Bowling.
Yeah.
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 Get the surprise.
I'm just
out
waiting
your
for the
voice.
drop.
His name is
Yep.
Will.
There it is.
Look at
There it
Kayla.
is.
Kayla be knowing.
Fanfare and trumpets welcoming me to work today.
That's the best part of it right there.
Thanks to the best fill-in producer in the world, Robert Walsh.
The fill-in producer
That
of
was
the
pretty
world.
Who
Craig.
this week, speaking of Bert Hawkinson, is working on Kayla's intro this week.
I love
Oh, yes.
I came up with the idea over the weekend, so Bert's working on it this week.
it. I want to be surprised. I don't want to know.
I'm not telling anybody. Bert's the only one that knows.
It's the highs of highs feeling and the lows of I don't know what the hell is that going to be.
Yeah.
My response to that is,
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
See, you just never know, Kayla, and I'm here for not understanding what Shafe's gonna do.
oh,
he's
you'll
got
like
me
it.
like that.
Kayla, you'll like it. You will.
It's getting to the point
excited.
now where Robert is doing such a good job that I want to rename the Lucas Panzica show the Lucas and Robert show.
Oh,
But-
he went there.
All
So-
in favor, say aye.
The Lucas Panzica show with Robert Walsh.
Yeah,
and
there
just
you go.
cut
There we
Buck
go.
out
Lucas
entirely.
Or
Panzica
just with
show
Bert.
Robert Walsh. Yeah, it's
with Bert.
fantastic.
By the way, my wife just texted me and said, Miles, my youngest, loves the Will Bowling drop,
Let's
man.
go. Hey, I
Look
love
at
Miles.
that.
Miles is my guy.
Hey, Miles,
Yeah?
you ready, Miles?
Yeah.
You
Here it
ready?
goes.
Miles?
Here it goes.
Hey, Miles. It's a long distance dedication to Miles.
His name is Will Bowling.
Look at Will.
Hey, Miles, you and me, man. You and me, brother.
Will over here spilling himself.
My
man.
guy.
Y'all will have a handshake before you know it, man.
Right?
That video of the two kids shaking hands.
You should actually have a pull up off too to see who does the most pull ups.
That's fair. I'm better
Hey,
now.
my kid is
I
strong.
can hold
out
my
here,
own now.
man.
All right, we're good.
He's a competitive
Oh,
kid.
Miles can beat me, no problem.
Yeah. I'm not
oh, yeah.
I'm not a stick figure distance runner anymore.
The only thing I pull up is a fork to my mouth. That's it. I'm not. Come on now.
And he's seen you do that at the house a few times.
Yeah.
too.
Although recently I've
relate.
been pretty good.
That's what I was gonna
I've been
say.
decent recently.
Recently,
There's
you
been a few
have,
times I've been over there and gone savage mode, but
Really
recently
proud of
I've been
you.
pretty good.
Really proud of you.
You should be.
with savage mode.
I made some steaks last night.
Yeah.
Drank some of the bourbon that Kayla got me.
Shout out to
You're
Karen.
Paired it
welcome.
together.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that the Christmas bourbon?
Mm-hmm.
Do
Look
you
at
have
That bottle has been drank more than I'm willing to admit.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to save it for a while.
That didn't happen.
It's not.
I haven't
Because
opened
I'm
that one
saving
yet.
my other
You
one
haven't?
that I got. Because I got bourbon from both of you.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm trying to save both of them. And we're doing okay. We're not doing good. We're not doing bad. We're doing okay.
I mean, I got 2 bottles of bourbon and a bottle of Japanese whiskey for Christmas. I mean, it's going to take a
Wow.
while.
It's going to take a
You
while.
need to throw a party there.
And lots to celebrate.
Does need to throw a party.
I'll bring it
to
over to Ramone's.
Hey.
No,
When's that going to
Are you-
be?
Kayla and I won't get to
yeah,
enjoy it,
there
though.
it is. I knew it was coming back. I knew
I'll
that
wait till the next beach football game
You
that we're
mentioned you were
broadcasting.
going to do it.
You know I always
Yo,
deliver,
you didn't
man.
mention. You mentioned it several times.
I didn't put a
we gotta
date
have
on
a
it.
cookout.
I didn't
No,
put a
don't
date
put
on
that
it.
on, Keisha.
No, I'm just letting them know. Pick up some hors d'oeuvres. I get the charcoal
Are you
ready.
really telling her what to do over
Yeah.
the air right
No,
now?
no, and no.
Seriously?
No. Oh, so now this is against me too.
Well, the
I
whole
can't win
thing's-
today.
The whole
Look,
thing's
he
been
turns
against
it
you the whole time.
It's against me.
Hey.
Wah.
Sound like a pig crying when you do that.
I hate y'all, man. God, that's the thing.
pissed.
We agreed to do this job together with each other.
Speaking of Shrek, it's Ramon right now being the donkey. I'm on alone. There's no one here beside me.
That should be his drop.
So good.
I love Donkey, man, which is Eddie Murphy.
Again.
Fiona, donkey.
Donkey.
Again, it's trending if you want to watch the movie. It's on Twitter.
Tell them
yeah.
why it's trending,
Somebody
Kayla.
on
Because of
Twitter
Twitter
Blue.
Blue.
Put 2 tweets out,
Yep.
and it's the entire film. One video of 46 minutes and 55 seconds of the movie, and then a response to the tweet. That's the other 45 minutes of the movie. Legitimately, someone put Shrek on Twitter.
Oh, it's been sent to us already, so Kayla can watch it.
Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
I love it here.
Appreciate you.
I can't believe they're actually doing that,
It's
man.
fantastic.
How come everything that's happening on Twitter, people are just running with it like, oh, yeah, you can get Twitter Blue. Well,
We're gonna
guess what
push
I'm going
the
to do now?
envelope.
Well,
Yeah.
we've got to enjoy our last days before
is
it
it?
goes under.
Eli Whitney, I think, is the company, the medical company that got scammed and their stock dropped.
No, it's Elon Musk, dude. What?
Well, no. Well,
Wasn't Eli
Wait.
Whitney the cotton gin?
well, no,
I
it's
was like,
Eli.
wait.
Yes, it
Eli
was.
Lilly. Eli
Oh,
Lilly,
okay.
the pharmaceutical company.
Lily would be correct.
When they allow people to do Twitter Blue, folks were basically cloning the names, and the stock dropped like crazy. Yeah. So then they changed Eli Whitney. I know. I'm out here just dropping random.
sorry.
What is
Those
this?
transcripts
birthdays?
are so iffy.
I was like,
Yeah.
Cotton gin.
I mean, hey, but that's we're not doing that one. Not that one.
Yeah, I didn't go
Hey,
there.
hey, Bone.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
No, it's Black History Month now.
No,
okay?
no.
I'll
We're not
go
doing
there.
that.
I will go there now, okay? But besides that, golly, Will, what is wrong with y'all?
You were the
in
one
this
that made
studio?
the joke.
I did make the joke. I made a reference, which was the wrong
Keep
name.
going. Keep going.
But now, every time they drop a new feature on Twitter Blue, next they overdo it. So now you can do longer videos. Well, guess what? We'll do a whole movie. Will is losing.
I know.
Will is broken right now.
He was like me at the Senior Bowl. I couldn't
He's
stop.
so broke.
737-1045.
See, Savage Kid, he's like, I'm riding with you. It sounded right. It did sound right.
Oh, God.
Tennessee's in College Station tonight. Julian Phillips and Josiah Jordan James are questionable.
There you go.
615-737.
That's not a transition.
Great.
Will.
We're going to pay the bills.
Great tease.
Oh,
It
my goodness.
sounded right, Will. I knew it was the Eli. Should have been Manning. Either way. We got
He
it
just
together.
goes through the list.
You know.
He said I was right for a little bit.
Are we now going to do a show just people
Yeah.
named Eli?
Right?
Eli Rogers.
We did
What,
an
that guy?
entire hour
Yeah.
of people named Ed once.
Yeah.
This show
we
will now
did.
be called the book of the show of Eli.
There you
The
go.
Book of Eli.
Book of
Yeah.
Eli.
Keep
Eli
my wife's
Lilly.
name.
out your mouth.
That's right. We were saying that this morning.
Ooh, that was good, man. So back to you, Will.
Texas A&M's only
Nice.
lost one game at home this year.
Anchor Ramon.
They are
Nice.
in the driver's seat for second in the SEC seeding. Important detail for Tennessee fans when it comes to SEC tournament seeding, and an element of this that also affects Vanderbilt. So a chance now that Tennessee could get jumped by Kentucky and Vanderbilt and Auburn
Dang.
Disgust of Ramon's voice.
for seeding in the SEC tournament. But, Ramon, I'm going to make you feel a little bit better.
Oh, don't do me like that.
No, I'm going to make you feel better.
Okay, come on.
Vandy and Auburn would have to beat Tennessee's record in order to pass them in SEC tournament seeding because of the second tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
The second tiebreaker for SEC tournament seeding is your record against the 1 seed.
Okay.
Tennessee's the only team with a win against the 1 seed
True.
in Alabama. So since Tennessee and Vanderbilt split,
Yeah.
and then Tennessee and Auburn will likely split when Tennessee goes to Neville Arena for the last game of the season, Auburn would have to beat Tennessee's record also to pass them in tournament seeding. So an important game tonight also
Okay.
Yep.
for Tennessee to hold serve because they've got a couple teams breathing down their neck that have no business to be breathing down their neck. But
They need to get healthy.
got hot at the
They
right
do.
time.
They need to
do.
get their guys back.
And I hate to even use that excuse, Kayla, but you're
Yeah,
right.
but it's a big part. I mean, that's the length, right?
Yes,
They've only
it
had
is.
every player healthy
bigger
for I
guys.
think it was like 7 games the entire season where they had
Yeah.
every scholarship player available.
Sound like the Titans now, man. Let's just get
God,
people
what is it
healthy.
with Tennessee teams?
Golly.
Coming up next, we'll talk to Brian Rice about that, get his thoughts on what made Kentucky a difficult matchup against Tennessee and his keys for a win tonight in College Station. On the other side, the host of the Eric Ainge Show, Brian Rice, joins us after the break on our Bode, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Have it your way.
You rule. from where'd you go?
Where did you come from, Gunna Joe?
Tuesday morning on a mode. Kayla and Will is
I've been
powered
there
by
a
all
long
Four
time
Seasons
ago.
Garage
Where did you come
Doors
from?
with
Where did
Ramon
you go?
Foster
Where
and
did you
Kayla
come
Anderson.
from, Gunna Joe?
I'm Will Bowling.
If this don't take you back to college, I don't know what does.
Specifically
Especially in
the
SEC.
college we went to.
Yeah, I think all SEC places probably.
Everybody did. Doesn't
Where-
matter.
did
I was
you? You
listening
played
to
this
that
too?
at Washington State, baby.
There it is.
Every university
It
and
don't
college
matter.
in America played and heard.
Yeah.
Yes, but it hits different in Knoxville when you are listening to Cotton Eye Joe while you are at the Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe.
And joining us now, who hosts the Eric Ainge Show on the Sports Animal right down the road from the Joe in Knoxville, is our good friend Brian Rice, giving us a couple minutes this morning. Brian, do you remember fondly or not so fondly the glory days of college nights at the Joe at the University of Tennessee?
You would go out there and stand in line, and then over in the corner would be the creepy guys who were there every night.
Yep.
And they were there for the show, let's just say, on college night.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
They sure were.
Ladies, don't go over there. They
This is a
may
warning.
be able to buy you dinner, but they've been around.
It's fantastic. Brian Rice with us this morning on our vote, Caleb Will. I think there are a lot of people that would rather line dance at the Joe for a couple hours versus watch Tennessee basketball play away from home right now, Brian. With kind of the way this thing went Saturday in Rupp Arena, it feels like we've kind of said everything we could say about this team at this point, right? I mean, did we really learn anything significant through this loss over the weekend?
No, they're just inconsistent. It's just what they are. And how do you? I mean, Rick Barnes said it after the game in the press conference. Like, I'm kind of at a loss as to why this happens, because they have the ability to sometimes play as easily one of the top 5 teams in the country, and then they easily have the ability to look like they've never played basketball before. It's really remarkable. And I realize you were down 2 starters on Saturday, but that doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It's, would Julian Phillips and Josiah Jordan-James helped you defend a little better? Probably, but you defended all right over the course of the game. The first half, you gave up more points than you should have. The second half, you played pretty well. My concern with them consistently has been these poor starts. Now, against Kentucky the first time down here, they didn't have such a poor start. They had kind of a poor second 10 minutes. But the consistent thing here is Kentucky, Florida, a couple other games where you've just had these long scoring droughts, and then it requires you to put it all together for a big comeback. Well, then you don't have anything left to take it to the next gear and finish the game. In this case, they were just too far down at the half for it to be. I mean, they outscored Kentucky by nearly 10 points in the second half and still lost. That you can't dig yourself into that hole. And so my concern is what causes them to dig themselves in that hole to start the game. And I don't think there's a good answer for that. Rick Barnes better find it, because if they dig themselves a hole tonight, they're not coming out of College Station with a win.
And Brian, the interesting thing is, too, I don't know if there's anything they could show me in these next 4 games that would give me a lot more hope, right? Because in a 7-game series, I think you would take Tennessee against most anybody in college basketball, because at their best, they are as good as anybody in the entire sport. But it's not a 7-game series you get the luxury of, obviously, in the college game. And you just feel like they're always capable of doing what they did Saturday. And there's not really much that's going to convince us otherwise going into tournament play.
Yeah, for long stretches this season, they didn't have these issues. To start conference play, they didn't have these issues. It looked like they had finally figured out what they had to do on a day-in, day-out basis to be one of the top 5 teams in the country. And then it crops up a little bit. You have the 2-game swoon where you can't hit the ocean out of a boat, but you still win one of those games against Auburn, and that wasn't who you are. And then it becomes a defensive issue. It's just, a lot of teams have these swoons in the middle of the year, but this team has now made the swoon kind of its brand. Could they turn it around? Sure, but I think here's the issue in March or really any time is, if somebody throws good defense at them and they get frustrated, what's their answer for that? And that was the question early on this season. If they're not having a good shooting night, what do you do? But then they didn't have a bad shooting night for a month and a half. Finally, when they did, I think Kentucky showed teams the blueprint when they came to Thompson-Boling Arena earlier this year. Make Tennessee score inside, because in most games, they're not good enough to score inside on you. and you can make them take jumpers and miss the jumpers, and one missed jumper becomes a second, becomes a third, becomes a fourth, and all of a sudden you're down 19 at halftime.
B. Rice, I guess the next question, when you're going through this SEC play and guys being in and out, where's the leadership skills, for guys that are inside that locker room, inside, those huddles on the court? I saw Meshack had a comment the other day, like if a couple losses, make you run towards the woods pretty much, then maybe this isn't for you. Where is that component of pushing through this tough stretch?
Well, I think that's kind of been the problem all year is you don't have that alpha that gets the ball in his hands inside the last minute of the game. Mm-hmm. And that carries over, in my opinion, to leadership as well. Who are guys turning to when another team goes on a 4-0 or a 6-0 run? Who do they look to on the court?
Yeah.
Josiah Jordan-James is your senior, but he's been in and out of the lineup. And I don't know that he's the vocal guy that is that guy. Zakai Ziegler is a sophomore. I don't know where his leadership is at this point. Tyreek Key's an experienced guy, but he's in his first year in your program. I think that's been kind of the problem is they don't have that player that they look to not only to take the shot when it's important, but to bring them up when things are going down. Even, giving up a 6-0 run on the other side, how do they figure that out on the court? Because they're not. And I think they're missing that guy. And that's disappointing with as much experience as is on this roster.
It's funny you said that. Ron Slade just said the same thing on our Zone TV chat. You have to have a guy. You said the exact same thing.
When Slade was here, it didn't matter who else it was. If they needed a bucket, they were going to Slade. And if they needed somebody to pull them out of a rut, it was Slade. You go through so many teams. I mean, you look at football teams that you played on. You had Ainge as an experienced quarterback. Yeah. You had guys like you on the offensive line. Somebody was going to pull that huddle together, and I don't see that. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't see somebody to do that.
And B. Rice, I made this comment, man, and it's in a joking way, but you are in Knoxville. You're around the teams more than we are. And I just said, we've worked too hard as a fan base to go back to the depths, okay? Where is the fan base supposed to be in a situation where basketball is way more opportunities? The losses are going to happen. Where should you be mentally at this point for therapy?
Here's the thing that is bothering people right now is that you're in a situation where the fans are in the here we go again because this team has not gone as far in March as fans would have liked it to. Now, when you go back and look at it year by year, they've only actually, by definition, underachieved really once in the postseason under Rick Barnes. They had a couple of years where they weren't very good and didn't make it past the first weekend. But all that said, mentally on the fan base, we as a football first school for so long, we take a football mentality when it comes to basketball. We celebrate the wins like they're super important, the most important thing that's happened, and then we also stress over the losses like they're the most important game that's ever been played. And that's taxing on us over the course of a season, but then you have the perception that March has not gone as well as it should have for your program. And so then people point to that and go, well, I'm not going to invest further after this loss because this is what's going to happen in March. Well, there's no guarantee of that. You could have a great shooting day in March and go to the Final Four. You could have a poor shooting game in the first round and struggle to get past the 11th seed. It's the nature of the tournament, but I don't know that we have a great perspective on that because we take a football mentality to it. Ultimately, you love the passion that causes that, but yeah, it makes it a little more frustrating as the year goes on. People have to step back, take a step back, and remember, still the number 11 team in the country according to the AP, still projected to be a 3 seed by Joe Lunardi. Those are good places for your basketball program to be. I always say just appreciate the season for what it is. Worry about what's going to happen in March when we get to March.
Well, what's going to happen is obviously Texas A&M next. Now, this is a team 20-7 overall, 12-2 in the SEC. Buzz Williams doing a really good job with this squad. They've won 5 straight. What's the biggest thing right now with the Aggies that's working?
Yeah, I think it's confidence. I think they were absolutely out to lunch in non-conference play. And it's evidenced by the fact that they're in second place in the SEC and going to finish second place in the SEC and are still struggling to get an NCAA tournament berth.
Yeah.
So they need this one tonight. They dug themselves a hole. When you look at the the tier 1 wins and all that, or quad 1 wins. Texas A&M's rolling along with what they need to do in quad 1 and 2. It's what they've done against quad 3 and quad 4 teams that's going to keep them out of the tournament if they don't make it. But they have, just like Kentucky did on Saturday, an opportunity to pick up a big one tonight over a team whose resume helps them. But it's all confidence when you look at Texas A&M. It's taking what happened early in the season, completely flushing it and saying, this is who we are now, and this is who we are game by game. And they're calling for a blackout tonight. I'm told it's a sellout down in College Station. So they'll have the dog and everybody there ready to go.
Well, the Vols would love to have back Jordan Josiah James, Julian Phillips, who have been out. I mean, that's a 6'6", 6'8" guy. They have a little more size and wingspan for the defensive side of things and the play. Like, how crucial is it to get these guys back? And do you foresee that happening?
I don't see that happening tonight. Yesterday, they didn't do any full team activities from what I understand, and that would lend me to believe that they will not play tonight. But they are technically a game time decision. If they feel like they can go, they'll go. I find it difficult to believe that they're going to go out there, either of them, and play a significant role tonight after not doing full team practice yesterday. But if you could get 5 minutes out of one of them, that may be the difference in the game. So I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm just not expecting it. But you need to get those guys back. You have a 4-game stretch coming up that, save for the game against South Carolina, these games are winnable for you, but you've got to go do it. And they're also very losable games. I don't think there's anything that can happen on Saturday against South Carolina. Now, I don't want to jinx them, but I don't think there's anything that can happen against South Carolina in Thompson-Boling Arena that wouldn't lead to a win. These other games down this stretch, every one of them is winnable. Every one of them is losable for Tennessee, and they're going to need to get one or both of those guys back down this stretch run to prepare for the postseason as well.
Brian Rice from the Sports Animal in Knoxville with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Brian, Santiago Vescovi in the second half against Kentucky, 17 points, had 10 straight points at one point, and we started to see him beat guys off the dribble and finish at the rim, which is something we've been waiting for him to do consistently, really since he got to Knoxville. Do you feel like there's still maybe a positive you could take away from that game Saturday if he kind of becomes that alpha scorer? Because I think I'm ready for that guy to just be more selfish than anybody else on this team.
Yeah, but it's a big if. Right. If he can hit consistently, then he's arguably your best player. His shot is smooth. He gets it off quickly. He can create. He has a little dribble move that he can use to create some space. He can hit fadeaways. He is that complete player when it's working. And when it's not, he's as guilty as anybody of going into the shell of one miss becomes a second, becomes a third.
Right.
If he can take the confidence from Saturday and carry that over into a good start tonight, because I've got to pound that again, they have to get off to a good start. It seems like, the easiest thing to say in basketball, but I have never seen a team more dependent on a quick start or just not getting off to a bad start than this one is, and he can be a huge part of that. If he hits a couple of shots in the first half that gets Tennessee going, then they're going to have a really good chance to come away with a win tonight. If he doesn't, and nobody else is playing that way, what are you going to get from Kumwa? What are you going to get down low from Jonas Adu? What are you going to get from some of the Jemai Mashak? What are you going to get from guys that are a bunch of question marks? If everybody can contribute, they're going to be fine. If you need one of those guys to go score 15 or 20, I'm not going to feel great about it because that means you're not getting enough from the other players you're counting on.
And Brian, we talk all the time on this show about how in 2019 you had about 4 or 5 guys who you would have been comfortable being the alphas in late game situations. Even Jordan Bone, you would have felt comfortable with kind of being the guy. And if you took just one of those really starting 5, and including Lamonte Turner in that, and put him on this team, they would be that guy on this roster. It felt like, though, that they had a good balance of being selfish yet still being good teammates. And it feels like the pendulum has almost swung too much to being too good of teammates, right? I mean, I know Rick Barnes would never admit that it's not about me culture that they've created is a negative, but it feels like maybe it's becoming a little negative. Is that fair to say?
I don't know that it's the culture that's a negative,
Sure.
but I think there's a glaring lack of alpha that you've recruited. Look, you can't recruit leadership. A former coach at Tennessee told me that. You can recruit people that you think are leaders, but you don't know if they're leaders ultimately until they get to your program. And I think we are in a culture right now as a society where we don't do a good job of creating leaders. We do a good job of creating people who are either one, people who are selfish, or two, people who are too deferent. And oh no, you take it, and they don't want to make anybody mad. We don't do a good job of creating leaders. I think that's a problem in a lot more areas than just sports, but it manifests itself in sports where you have a locker room full of people who want to be a part of the team, but they don't want to call each other out. Or when they do call each other out, they do it so respectfully that people don't realize they're being called out. It's something that a coach can't really correct because you got to find that person. People are either natural born. I don't believe that leadership can be created. I think you're that guy or you're not. And that's a problem when you look around as a coach at a team of guys that you think you've recruited that can do that, and it turns out none of them are really comfortable with that role. I think that's the issue here, but I don't know how you fix it. You've got to find a way to get somebody to step up and say, hey, I'm the guy who wants the ball. Give me the ball. Let's go.
Great stuff as always with our good friend Brian Rice from the Sports Animal in Knoxville at Brian C. Rice on Twitter, where you can find him. Appreciate the time as always, man.
Kayla, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian.
B. Rice.
Absolutely. There's Brian Rice with us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline this morning, and you are, I think, in agreement with him on that you can't recruit leaders, but you can create them.
Hey, he preaching. That right there was some grade A stuff that he just said right there, and he's 100% right. Everybody's so individualized these days with how they train, where their coaches are, how they feel about themselves, their own social media. That ability to be able to call out your teammates respectfully and in a very stern way, that art has somewhat been lost. And I kind of been saying that a little bit when it comes to this team. They're too unselfish.
Yeah.
They're too friendly. No. If it's your shot,
get some
take
dog
that.
in you.
We shouldn't be going weeks by telling Tariq Key, dog, shoot. We shouldn't be doing that. He's just one guy. Or why we got to wait for the team to be down against Kentucky for Vescovy to go off like that?
Right.
Like, everybody can go get theirs within the team concept. If your shot is there, you shouldn't be pulling up at a mid-range if you're a shooting guard and passing it for alley-oop to a guy that's covered. And we've seen that go 2, 3, umpteen times this year with this team. Like, I'll just jack it. It's cool to pull up. Barnes will pull you out if it's not the right shot. He'll talk to you, get right back in. I'm telling you that in all sports, I'm with B. Rice on that one.
615-737-1045. I feel like, too, Zakai Ziegler has the alpha personality. He's just got to quit getting in foul trouble.
That's part of it, right?
And you know what I thought about with Zakai? And Zakai is a small statured guy.
Right.
Zakai gets away with a whole bunch of pushing, shoving, getting guys around, being really aggressive in his approach because he's a small guy. I see this at all levels now. They won't call it on the smaller point guard because you don't think they're getting away with it. And he does a lot of that. And I'm sure as of late, he's been politicked against. Hey, watch the little guy, man. He aggressive. He pushing. He kicking.
Right.
He's gotten away with it. And now as it gets to the latter part of the season, it's starting to get calmer because he's been put on. He's got a reputation. Watch him. Watch him. And I'm a fan of him.
Right. Coming up next, one former Vol has landed in the AFC South, and another assistant has failed forward to an NFL coordinator position. That's next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Finding value is important all the time, but especially these days, and that's why I'm so confident in recommending Genesis Diamonds. Value is the core principle that Genesis was founded on. The owner is a former diamond wholesaler who used to sell diamonds to upscale jewelry stores, but he hated how much they marked up their prices when they sold them to other customers. So he cut them out and started selling direct to the public at fair and honest prices that eliminated the traditionally fat retail profit margins. That direct importer advantage still applies applies at Genesis Diamonds. That's why they've beat everyone else's price on GIA certified diamonds. But it's more than just price. At Genesis, you'll get a higher quality diamond with the best cut for maximum brilliance, no commission salespeople, a personal, relaxed shopping experience, and free service for life on any purchase. You also get the best rings money can buy from the top designers in America. These are handcrafted, American-made rings from the most sought-after designers, names like Tacori and Verragio and many more. So this year, as you think about getting engaged, wink, wink, or celebrating a milestone of any kind, remember Genesis Diamonds. Best selection, highest quality, guaranteed best value, and a locally owned company with amazing international connections. Genesis Diamonds, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Tuesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. You know, on the long list of reasons why Jonathan Schaefer is the best producer in the world, the fact that you can just say the name of a song in a commercial break, and not even talking to Schaefer, and then you'll just hear it coming back from break.
The best producer in the world.
It's true.
Love this song. I remember when it first dropped. I was going to an AAU basketball tournament in the 8th grade to Memphis.
Look at you.
We were listening to K97. The hip-hop channel.
K97. Tuesday.
Stan Bell, the bell ringer, man.
Memphis, Tennessee.
This was on my playlist, too, that y'all...
Big Pimpin'?
But they never played it.
Oh, for real?
Because I had to, do a big list, and you couldn't take them all.
It's the Tuesday morning house party.
This one was necessary right here.
Tuesday morning house party.
Schaefer knows the references.
Yep. I gotta tell you a quick story on this. And the music video of this one,
here we go.
The rapper from UGK Pimp C was actually in Miami filming this. He put a fur coat on to do the video. And said he looked at him like, they call him Pimp. Well, it's Miami, it's hot. You know what he said? Ain't no AC on TV. I was just like, that's the coldest line ever. That's cold blood. I wish I was that cold.
For a coat like what Tennessee baseball wears after a home run.
Get right, Will.
Except you can't wear them on the field anymore.
In the dugout, man.
Because the haters and losers got too annoyed of it.
Yeah, man. It's just a cool little pro tip right there.
As long as the sticker's right.
Yeah, Danny.
Look at that.
A former Vol has landed in the AFC South.
Jeez.
Good.
Your boy Jim Bob Cooter. Offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis Colts.
Did not see this coming.
So he was there with you at Tennessee.
I blocked for Jim Bob Cooter.
Wow.
Listen to me. In the spring game, me, Jim Bob Cooter, the young guy group that was blocking for him, oh my gosh, we ran a real good spring practice. Jim Bob had been around for a while, knew the system, smart guy, local guy, all of those things, man. Jim Bob being there, man, and just delegating, just
Not
working.
really an athlete.
Not really an athlete, but he's got a big brain. Big brain on Jim Bob, man. And
he's got a name, too.
Yeah, he does. James Robert Cooter.
Cooter.
But either way, man, I never expect this to be his pathway right here. I did not.
And why do you say that?
I don't know. I didn't think he was moving up in the coaching world like he was or like he is currently. I knew he was a smart guy. I just never knew he had aspirations to be a signal caller the way he is right now. Was he the smart guy? Yes. Did he play all? No, he didn't. But I guess when you get in that world and you gain a whole lot of knowledge, and that's what he was doing at UT anyway. So I'm surprised, but I'm not overly shocked because he's a quarterback that knows everything about the game.
Yeah.
He was most recently the Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator. Before that, he was an offensive consultant with new Indianapolis coach Shane Steichen with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021. Was obviously with Detroit as well there as the staff now takes shape in Indianapolis too. Defensive coordinator Gus Bradley likely to be retained under Steichen, and special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone, who is an initial candidate for the head coaching job, is also expected to stay with the organization. So you've got VFL Jim Bob Cooter, 38 years old. Now the offensive coordinator. All the Indianapolis Vols and Knoxville will love that if they're still if they still stayed with that allegiance. Not many of those left, by the way. Not as many as there used to be. Then you have a Jeremy Pruitt assistant who's now a defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Oh wow,
Derek Ansley. According to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero yesterday, will be the Chargers' new defensive coordinator.
Oh, get out of here.
Comes after Ronaldo Hill, who had been the Chargers DC the last 2 seasons, joined the Dolphins staff under new coordinator Vic Fangio out there.
I mean, I remember that team. So there's a bunch of those guys, so real quick, that was on those teams, like walk-on types, like Casey Woods. You remember him from UT? Wide receiver type. He's now the offensive coordinator at SMU.
The reason I remember him is because he was the holder.
Yeah.
And Bobby Denton, the legendary voice of Neyland Stadium for most of everyone's lives, listening to the sound of my voice right now, would say, Cox to snap, Woods to hold, Lincoln to attempt, or Will Hoyt to attempt, Morgan Cox, Tennessee Titans.
Morgan Cox, absolutely.
Yeah, so I do remember him.
Yeah, so Casey was in that group. There was a bunch of those groups that was around like that. Kevin Burnett, I think, is coaching these days. Gerard Mayo's coaching.
Peter Sermon, who is a GA under Kiffin in 09.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinator and
Rob Ayers now. Anthony Parker's at Georgia Tech. That
young
coaching
too,
world is
younger.
vast.
And then you go through that staff.
Yeah.
That staff when you were the Kiffin staff at Tennessee is like half the SEC West's coaches.
And also the Cutcliffe staff too is pretty. He cast a wide net with them too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Hugh Freeze was at Briarcrest as a high school coach in Memphis, and now he's in the SEC too. I mean, literally, you had Sam Pittman, Matt Luke, Lane Kiffin, Ed Orgeron, all on the same staff.
Monty
and Shane Beamer, who had just left.
The times are changing a little too, because these are names, like you said, that you can be like, oh yeah, I played with these dudes.
What does that say about
me,
Kayla?
Well, that says you're
older,
getting old. But it's all about what you feel. Ramon, if you don't feel like you're your age, then you're not your age. I firmly believe that.
See? You like a real one.
Right?
Like a real one. I'm 25.
Kayla, well, you'll get all the youth jokes like I do if you're 25. So
I doubt
no, you'll still get all those.
You go from bar to bar. I go from
but
dinner
you're a
to
little
a
different
lounge.
though, because you're 25 and you're also
Going on
simultaneously
70.
14 and 70.
I'm 25 going on 68.
There you go. By the way, I love the chat. They're like, I love Jim Bob Cooter, but man, why do you have to go to the Colts?
Yeah.
Like what? You know what? It's like that love-hate. By the way, where is Jeff Saturday's name? Like I have not heard his name once. Does he just fade into the sunset?
He'll fade into the get up sunset.
It's just
And the first
hilarious.
take sunset.
Back on TV later on.
That's why a lot of
better
people
gig
looked
anyway.
at their situations like you got that because of who you know, not because of what you did.
That's the thing. You're happy for a VFL, but
The Indianapolis Colts.
Exactly.
It's easier to win in ratings on ESPN than it is to win under Jim Irsay. 615-737-1045,
There we
our
go.
number. Resetting the headlines, taking a look at Tennessee's trip to College Station. Coming up next, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
If you have a wet basement or crawl space, it's time to call United Structural Systems. We've all heard about these guys for a long time, and for good reasons. It's because they've served Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they help thousands of satisfied residential customers. They are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And if you have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with it. Water intrusion and moisture could give you all sorts of problems down the road, and if you want to get this fixed, it could be because you have poor drainage or surface water flooding over the walls or underwater pressure forcing water into your basement. Or it could be because of a plumbing leak. You just don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems will find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space and will give you a plan to fix it. And if you do decide to move forward, you don't have to pay a dime until the work is done and you are satisfied. So get that free estimate from the people I trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or call them 615-227-2275. United Structural Systems.
8:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The basket Vols dropped in the top 25 polls that were released yesterday. Tennessee down to number 11 in the AP poll and number 13 in the coaches poll. Those placements were after a mixed bag of results last week when they defeated then top-ranked Alabama and lost to Kentucky. The Vols are in action tonight at number 25 Texas A&M. Tip-off set for 6 with pregame at 5:30 here on The Zone. To the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts are expected to name VFL Jim Bob Cooter as their offensive coordinator. The 38-year-old was most recently the Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator. To the ice tonight at Bridgestone Arena, Vancouver, taking on the Predators. 7 o'clock the puck drop for that. College baseball, number 3 Tennessee, their home opener this afternoon against Alabama A&M. First pitch 3:30. Number 10 Vanderbilt hosts Central Arkansas at 4:30 at Hawkins Field. For all foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show underway, and this show gets better in the second half. First possession will tell us all we need to know about the rest of this one. Hunter Bone, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors right here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up, a topic we want your participation on. Which young quarterback piques your interest the most for the Tennessee Titans? We have 3 options for you. We will accept write-in candidates as long as those candidates do not rhyme with Blairin' Bodgers. Coming up.
Oh, God.
As our
Aaron
Rodgers.
How long did you think about that? Or was that on, like,
that was
that
just off the top of my head.
Okay.
Free of charge. With Ramon Foster. That's
Yeah.
Kayla Anderson, back from vacation.
Yes.
And the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world.
Ron Slay coming up as well in hour number 4 as Tennessee and Texas A&M get ready to do battle tonight in College Station. Tennessee at 9-5 in the SEC, falling 1 spot to number 11 in the AP poll following its crazy week last week. These go to 11.
Where does that come from, actually?
This is Spinal Tap.
That's right.
Oh, have
So,
you seen
Black
that?
people didn't watch that, Ramon. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
He's-
mean, I've never heard
he's
of
like,
that
I have
one
no
at
idea and I
all.
don't care.
I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty cultured, but
These
I've never
ones
heard
go
of that
to
one.
11.
Yeah, that was early 80s. Black people didn't watch that. You're fine.
Okay, for sure. That makes sense. That makes sense.
No,
I'm
they
cool with
didn't.
that. I mean, that's cool.
It's fine.
Yeah.
At halftime of every Nashville SC game, they play that clip before the second half. Or they did in Nissan Stadium. I don't think they actually did that at Geodis Park last year.
I don't think I knew that.
And it would be like, it's like a conversation, Ramon, of like, well, why doesn't it just go to 10? It's like, well, these ones go to 11.
Ah.
Need that little extra boost.
Yeah, they're talking about guitar amps. So
Yeah, it's
yes.
an amp, right?
Instead of 10, make them go to 11.
Why don't you have more?
Why don't you make 10 louder?
That's like blurring
Again,
the sounds.
push the envelope.
Yeah, the
All
question
right,
is like, why
gotcha.
do you just make 10 louder? It's like, but these go to 11.
Okay.
So Tennessee goes to 11. 615-737-1045 is our number. I don't really know what to expect from that one tonight because I just need Tennessee to show me they are capable of withstanding the pressure of playing on the road in difficult environments like that.
It's hard because you see a game like they played against Alabama, and you're like, okay.
Right.
There's Tennessee,
Yep.
and then then you fall back against Kentucky, and now you know that possibly Jordan Josiah James Phillips could be out again. It looks like, according to Brian Rice, he said it doesn't look good. I don't know if that's been made official yet. I think we were kind of dealing with
I don't
this in
think
the chat.
Josiah
I don't think that's
and
official yet.
and Julian will play. A lot of J's there.
Yeah, a lot of
between
J's.
Josiah and Julian.
But they need him, and Ron said it in the chat. He said, if those two don't play, I just don't see it getting done.
Well, especially on the road, too. I think that was the thing about the Bama game is it was at least at home. You know?
And you got a once-in-a-lifetime performance from Jonas Adu in that game, who
Once
was in
in a
foul
lifetime?
trouble. Well, so far it was.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's
true.
a career high. It's his first double-double.
You're right.
I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it again, but
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And you know what?
Be
fair
helpful.
is fair. Fair is fair. I
Be
get
helpful
Will that.
if he could.
But that's the thing about if I'm Barnes, that's what I'm telling them. It's like, hey, you showed me once, show me again. But you're right. They got to play his role once in a lifetime so far.
we mentioned earlier that Vanderbilt and Auburn would have to beat Tennessee's record in order to have the tiebreaker against them. By virtue of Tennessee's win over Alabama and both of those two teams' losses to Alabama as the second tiebreaker for SEC tournament seeding. Kentucky, though, already has that tiebreaker as by virtue of head-to-head wins over Tennessee.
God, dog.
So, I mean,
Dirty cats.
it's the first time Kentucky's ever swept a Rick Barnes Tennessee team.
And they're not that great.
That's what I was going to say. So what does that say about either Calipari or Barnes in this one this year? He was due eventually?
I think the second game, Tennessee certainly, I mean, both games, Tennessee deserved what they got. The first game, I think, was a little flukier than this past one on Saturday.
Okay.
Tennessee, well, you shoot 26% and get down by 20 at halftime. You're not going to beat anybody on the road.
Yeah, that's very fair.
I mean, you might lose to South Carolina on the road the way they played Saturday.
Yeah.
But that first game at home, I felt like Tennessee had a lot of chances in that one and missed a lot of shots that they should make most days.
Yeah.
And Kentucky shot really well. Kentucky didn't shoot particularly well in this game on Saturday. Still had enough to win.
Still had enough to win. I mean,
But I could see him going on the road and getting. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
The inconsistency is keeps you high, keeps you low. I mean, but I could see him going on the road and taking care of business. I don't know.
I don't on this one. So they make me a believer a little bit more. Like I understand that they're down. My hopes and where they're going to be tonight is kind of just make it through, get healthy. You know how some teams kind of pace themselves a little bit more. I don't think Rick Barnes ever in a pace type of situation. The team is just less than. You know, and what if all of this is just for the preparation for SEC tournament and March Madness? You know what I'm saying? Like. But
they've had a little bit of a gray area in that in the tournament
and
too.
That's hard as a fan though to kind of just ride this wave for them. But what else are we gonna do? Like I'm not out on them. I hope they win this game tonight. But the competitive side of where Texas A&M is, I've been saying I feel like the last 2 weeks, like A&M is strong.
5 straight.
Yeah.
They've won.
They're strong, man, and I see that we don't look that strong right now. And I'm hoping this is just planning for what's down the line. If we do all of this losing right now, the back and forth, the inconsistency, to make it Elite 8 or better, you're good with that, right?
Right. We just don't have any evidence to suggest that they're going to pick it up in March because typically they get worse in March.
Yeah.
And I think last year it's a bit harsh to say that was the same old Rick Barnes in March kind of thing that happened. That team just missed wide open threes last year against Michigan, and Hunter Dickinson was on fire in that game.
They won the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
I
think
a good team.
Looking back at it, and I said this in the moment, and I feel like a year later it still applies. Last year was a different kind of Tennessee loss in March.
I would agree, Will.
That was not that team getting worse. That was not a team that deserved to lose. That was Hunter Dickinson going crazy for Michigan. And Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi having bad shooting days at the same time and leaving Kennedy Chandler and Uroš Plavšić to lead the way. Kennedy Chandler deserved a better way to go out at Tennessee.
Yeah, he did.
That guy was playing at an unbelievably high level at the end of the season last year. Unbelievable.
He was fun to watch.
Yes, he was.
I think we'll look back and say that team was really the best one since that 2019 squad that should have made a deeper run.
Yeah. Jeez.
Now, the year before losing to Oregon State, that was epic.
Mm-hmm.
That team disappointed from the beginning.
Everybody hurts.
But again,
that's my jam.
We were doing Lucas and I did the UT podcast last night, which rate, review, subscribe, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Okay.
And
go get you some.
He made the point that good offense makes one shining moment. Like a guy just getting hot and taking over is what makes the one shining moment montage. Like Tennessee doesn't have a one shining moment montage guy. And that's the perfect way to describe it because think of the most heartbreaking losses Tennessee has had the NCAA tournament. Loyola Chicago, Sister Jean was one shining moment. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. You were a part of one shining moments on the wrong side every time you've lost to the tournament. You had Purdue. Ryan Klein dropped 30 in that game, didn't he? And was just unconscious making threes. It was him and Admiral Schofield going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Ryan Klein, one shining moment guy, gets hot for Purdue. Still wasn't a foul at the end of the game. We're going to keep moving. Oregon State, Cinderella run.
Yep.
They started their Cinderella run with one shining moment
Yep.
against you as a 12 seed. And then last year, Hunter Dickinson, a 7-footer, making like circus threes against you in the second half. Just couldn't miss.
Has he
one
done
shining
that
moment.
since?
I don't know.
I
Can't say I'm a big. I mean, our Big Ten basketball expert comes on after us, so we can ask him. But I'm serious. That wasn't even. Again, I'm not even trolling. But
I know you weren't trolling, but you're right. You're right. I thought it was the Lucas Panzica show. You said.
Well, I'm giving credit to Lucas for this take on our podcast yesterday.
okay.
That like they need the Lucas Panzica show with Robert Walsh. They need a one shining moment guy.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I still think it's Vescovy. I really do.
Well, maybe you should call him up.
I have been. Well, calling him out. Calling him up, maybe not. But
I won't get off the Tyreek Key train.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You are just
I can't.
all about this.
Because I feel like he has the ability. He has.
Then what's the problem? Why can't
too
these?
nice, as B. Rice said earlier. Way too nice.
Well,
Way
if you're
too
Rick
nice.
Barnes, then do you get in there and say, "Hey, look"?
It's because Eddie George hasn't had the talk with him yet.
He
That's what I'm
hasn't.
saying. Call Betty.
Like he's like the Mamba talk. Like Kobe's got to go watch some Kobe tutorials.
How about
you
Ron?
know?
Could Ron get in there and give him some?
He possibly could, but Savage is so busy these days, man. I don't even talk to him. I ain't
Precious-
seen
precious
Ron.
time.
He was by my house Sunday, and I still ain't seen him.
Well, dang.
I know.
Slay.
I know. I'm dogging him on air right now just because I can. And
He's a busy man.
Yeah,
he can't respond until 9:20.
He can't
Central
respond at
Standard
all.
Time.
But I mean,
Well, he can later.
I just hate this though, Will, that somebody has a lot of potential, but they don't see it or take advantage of it for themselves. And I think that's where Tyreek is. Like, you're asking for Vescovy, and I think that's fair because Vescovy's overly proved that to you.
He's
That's
been in the system
fair,
for
right?
longer.
Zakai, he gets sized up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that has size and the ability to score on this team, that's proven it as of late when he gets that opportunity, other than Julian Phillips, right?
And I mean, that's your 5-star lottery pick.
Other than him, it's Tyreek Key.
I wonder
I'm on that one.
when Julian Phillips comes back from injury, did watching the game from a different perspective make him a little bit hungrier and want to make him have a little bit more initiative to score?
I think it needs to.
Because Slay has talked about that a lot,
Yeah.
that watching the game from the sidelines when you can't be in there gives you a different kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been out long. He's got the most talent of anybody on the entire team, and I'm not sure it's particularly close.
Right.
Yep.
That's the guy that you would hope would be your dude. I'm just counting more on the guy that's been in the system now for 4 years.
I'm with that. And the way Barnes play his young freshman, too.
Right. Coming up next, we're going to scratch the quarterback itch for the Tennessee Titans.
Do it.
Oh God. So you're finally playing into this.
No, it's not that. It's that it's the time of the offseason to start discussing this.
Will.
Call him out again, Kayla.
Well,
Do it.
he doesn't like. Look.
Do it, Kayla.
See, but
said
here's the
many
difference.
times.
Here's the difference.
I'm not touching that.
No, you're misrepresenting what you're misrepresenting what I've said.
Give me some.
You're misrepresenting what I've said. I've said I'm not touching Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr.
Well, as dark as his room is right now, he probably wouldn't know anyway.
Oh my goodness.
There's actually quite a bit of light in here today.
I said I'm not
Very
touching
rare.
the Derek Carr and Rodgers because those aren't as realistic. I'm going to 3 young quarterbacks
Oh boy.
who would make sense money-wise for the Tennessee Titans. Because anybody that wants to have the fantasy unicorn conversation and fill their radio shows with Aaron Rodgers, it's because they just played too much Xbox, so they should just go do that on Madden. We're going to have realistic options for the Tennessee Titans at quarterback that money-wise could make sense. Coming up, 3 names. Which one is the best? One from Green Bay, one from San Francisco, one from Chicago. Next, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Window Nation. And Window Nation has the coolest deal ever for keeping you warm or cool, too, because weather has been kind of up lately. But you'll pay 0 down, make 0 payments, and get 0% financing for 24 months. That's 2 years, yes, you math experts, of no interest. Plus, get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy with no limit. Take advantage of Window Nation's at deep discount, all while reinvesting in your biggest asset, not to mention the energy savings for years to come. You can call 866-90Nation or go online at windownation.com. The best thing about Window Nation, too, the average installer has over 16 years of experience with over 20,000 windows installed. And this is the thing, are your windows leaking? That can cause serious structural damage to your home and can cause mold to grow. Leaky windows can allow mold to grow inside your home completely unnoticed. And now is the time to replace those leaky windows. And again, all they do is windows. And they've installed over 200,000 windows in the last year, 40 times more than the average window company has, and 96% of them require no follow-up service whatsoever. So again, you pay nothing for 24 months. Plus, if you buy 2 windows, you'll get 2 windows free on any style from Window Nation. There's no limit to how many windows you can get also. You'll save thousands on your windows and your energy bills, all while upgrading the look and feel of your home. Go to windownation.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all four seasons garage doors and the season of lies in the National Football League. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. Jonathan Schaefer spinning the hits here in our 104.5 The Zone studios. A conversation that we will want your discussion on, because anytime we say the words quarter and back consecutively, it gets the people going.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. And we preface this conversation by saying, or by asking both of you first, that Ryan Tannehill will probably be the Titans quarterback next year.
Mm-hmm.
Question mark?
Question mark, I'd almost say, too.
You think
why are you changing though?
Because new GM.
Okay.
I just think of where you are, but I say I'm 85-15. And I think
That
it's
he
fair to throw
stays.
that he stays.
Right.
And I think it's okay to put a question mark behind it, because to that point, if the Titans don't get a quarterback this draft, well, when the heck will they ever get one then?
I'd say I'm about 80%. Yeah.
Yeah, you 80% saying he stays quarterback.
Oh, so you're saying like if they're going to get one, they're going to go draft?
When are the Titans
got it.
going to be at 11 again? That's the only reason
It'll be
I bring
after
that
this
up.
season.
You think they'll go, oh, okay. So we got a lot of discussions
But
then.
again,
on what
who's
we
available
project.
at 11, though?
At 11?
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
They'd have
It's
to
a-
make some moves.
And how
The
much
number-
capital do you have, which you don't really have right now to move up?
So here's the thing then. How is this franchise going to continually be picking just taking everybody else throwaways? Or, young guys that don't really make it? Like, because that's the conversation piece then. Like, I get why 11 makes people think we should just move up into the top 10 and select one of those top 3 quarterbacks if available at that point. If you see that Stroud is available at past 5, does that not change the conversation,
Right, but how many needs do you need to address in this draft? That's the thing. Like, you've got to get probably
fair.
2 starters on the offensive line just in the draft class, because you don't have the money to pay premium prices for offensive linemen.
Yep.
Especially not a left tackle, which you're going to need once Taylor Lewan is cut.
Yep.
So at that point, you got to draft a left tackle. That's a premium pick that you have to make in the first round. So essentially, if you are deciding to use that premium pick or package together multiple ones and use your first pick on a quarterback, you're basically agreeing that your left tackle is either already on the roster, could be, if that's Nicholas Petit-Frere and he moves to the left side, or you're saying we're going to go sign a left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have the money to sign a good left tackle enough to meet your goals, which is continuing to contend for the AFC South and win a Super Bowl.
The only glitch in the matrix to all of that, though, too, is watching Cincinnati go get Joe Burrow early on and then find protection later.
That's
the
fine.
only
But he
glitch.
did get hurt. He did. And Joe Burrow is very unique.
I'll say this when we go deep. What's an ACL these days?
That's fine. But do you really want to gamble that?
I don't want to gamble it, but it's a conversation piece for sure. It's the only glitch in the matrix that you use
But
right
it's
there.
not for a team that's paying a quarterback a lot of money and paying a running back.
How much is Tannehill owed? And what's the cap hit if he
He
gets
was
cut?
38%
chunk?
of the cap last year.
Okay. All right. It's just
No,
a conversation piece.
no, it
for
is.
Sure.
It is.
But
No, but it's
you're-
worth discussing.
You're comparing apples and oranges, because Cincinnati could pay an offensive line because they had a rookie quarterback salary and they had Joe Mixon on a lower salary.
They didn't pay the O-line until the year after Burrow got hurt.
I know.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
this
It's delayed
past
gratification
offseason,
for sure.
This past offseason, they bought an offensive
Yeah.
line. The Titans don't have the money to do that.
Let me say this. If it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, I'm contemplating going up.
If they're at 6 or 7,
Yes,
still.
I'm contemplating
Okay.
that. If either one, no, I don't expect either one of them to be
Exactly.
there. That's where the conversation changes.
I kind of like next year's quarterback draft.
You'd rather have that one?
If they're falling down to that area and you have enough capital to make the move, I don't think they're going to have enough capital. But if you have enough capital to make the move, I'm with you on that. Those are the only, for me,
Yeah.
those are the only two I'm
That's fair.
considering. That's it. A large part of this issue is this team doesn't have a ton of capital. And how much are you willing to mortgage in the future, which you've already mortgaged some, not a massive amount, but some in the future because of previous moves that John Robinson made. Those are the only two guys I'm considering moving up for.
You're really starting to see the mess that the Titans got into.
So, that being said, by the way, the answer to your question is on a post-June 1st release, you would save $27 million against the cap by cutting Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
The 2023 dead cap is $9.6 million. The 2024 dead cap is $9.2 million.
In which you can announce that you're going to make that release with the designation later on.
And
Right.
still
With a
make moves and set up contracts after the fact.
with a post June 1st release.
Yes, the tampering, non-tampering that goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
So that at least gives us the discussion. If we're 80%, 85% that he's your quarterback next year,
Yeah.
and you don't have the draft capital to go get somebody at 11, well, how about a guy who a couple years ago was the number 11 overall pick, the quarterback of the Chicago Bears?
Justin Fields.
Enter Justin Fields,
Gosh.
one of 3 quarterbacks I want to bring up here, and I want you guys to pick out of these 3 which is your pick for the Titans, the best fit. Cap number for Justin Fields, 2023 cap hit is $5 million. 2024 is $6 million. In 2025, you have a 50-year option available. Jason LaCamfora reported last week that more than one NFL GM came away from the Senior Bowl fairly convinced that Justin Fields will be dealt.
Wow.
ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum last week compared Alabama's Bryce Young and made a bold claim at the time that Chicago would be better off trading Fields and taking Bryce Young.
Ooh.
Big year 2 jump for Fields last year. Passed for just over 2,200 yards, 1,100 yards on the ground, more than any quarterback in his class. And his leading receiver, you know who the Bears' leading receiver was this past year?
Wasn't a receiver.
It was not a receiver.
It's a tight end.
It was a tight end.
Wow.
You know who it was?
No, I do not.
Cole Kmet.
Yep.
Cole Kmet.
Led the Chicago
Yep.
Bears in receiving with 544 yards, followed by Darnell Mooney and Equanimous St. Brown.
And guess who also was shipped up there
Who's that?
halfway through the season? Pittsburgh Steelers.
Chase Claypool.
Oh,
Chase
Chase
Claypool.
Claypool. They didn't utilize. Okay.
And he didn't do anything.
He's a free agent, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is. So that's option 1
Ooh.
on the table. Probably the highest price you're going to have to pay for any of these 3 guys, draft capital-wise. A lot of discussion has been 2 firsts
For Justin Fields
for
currently.
Justin Fields. You're going to give Chicago 11 and probably another first and maybe another mid-round pick. If I had to guess, it's not a small price. We're going in descending order of price. The Titans would have
Chicago
to pay
really's
for these
got
3
the best scenario of anybody.
Yeah, they do.
They're going to get a quarterback and ship one off steal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but that kind of, I don't even know if I were Justin Fields, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Option 2,
Ugh.
Jordan Love.
Okay.
$4 million against the cap next year. Former number 26 overall pick by the Green Bay Packers. Back in December, a Green Bay reporter said, quote, "I think he very clearly, even though he wouldn't flat out say it, does not want to sit for another year. So if we get to year 4 and Rodgers does come back, I'm fairly confident he will seek a trade."
You
In
think?
2024, the 50-year option available for him, number 26 overall pick in 2020. The context here, he would almost be, I wouldn't say he's similar to Josh Rosen,
Ugh.
but you look to Josh Rosen as the precedent for these last 2 guys and what it would take to get them. Josh Rosen was traded to the Dolphins in exchange for the number 62 overall pick and a 2025th when the Cardinals decided they'd rather have Kyler Murray.
Ooh.
So that was a 2nd and a 5th
Okay.
to get Josh Rosen. I think Jordan Love, you're talking 2nd and a 3rd, 2 seconds, 1st and
I
a
think
5th.
as high as you go with him is a 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a
100%.
guy we still haven't seen.
I couldn't tell you much about him other than preseason games.
People are going to start forgetting he was a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably Aaron Rodgers' choice to make that happen too. That's crazy that he's doing that to a
He's
young
holding
guy.
everybody hostage, I'm telling you.
I know it's so frustrating, but I guess you do what you want when you popping, right? And that's the way
Guess
he's
so.
looking at it. I don't understand what Green Bay's done to really tick him off. I know he's been all about getting me these amount of players, but that's bothersome. Just ask for a trade out, Aaron Rodgers.
Speaking of,
Is he behind me on TV?
yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, they're talking about
Aaron Rodgers.
when you can clap 2 times and ESPN will be talking about Aaron
truth.
Rodgers.
It's like
which is why
Candyman, huh?
we're not mentioning him in
Really?
this.
Say his name 3 times. There you go.
If with Jordan Love's 5th-year option, by the way, the cap hit goes from $3.9 million in 2023 to $20.2 in 2024 for Jordan Love.
Still
That's a lot
discounted
of money.
quarterback
Yeah,
this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Oh, these quarterbacks in the first round that just they haven't played and
Man.
sitting there.
Option number 3, the
Molding
final
away.
choice
I know.
and the lowest price, but the highest salary price of any of these quarterbacks, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Trey Lance. Michael Silver, the San Francisco Chronicle, said last month he would expect it is no more than a third-round pick to get Trey Lance. That surprised me, too, because I would have guessed at least a second.
Does the injury partially play into that?
I
Because
think
he
a
was
little
just
bit.
recently injured?
$9 million cap hit next year. $10.8 million in 2024. 50-year option for 2025 available.
The Niners are going to try to do everything humanly possible to capitalize on the draft capital they gave up to get him.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's just what they're going to do.
I roll with that. What is so now that that's your presentation on all of them?
Those
That
are
was
the
my
three.
presentation. 3 options.
Who I want. It's like we don't know enough about all of them and how much of Justin Fields' play or lack of sometime is because of the organization he was with. Like, he's made a lot of good plays, but that's also because he's had to run around like a chicken with his head cut off, too.
Well, he's with the worst organization for quarterbacks in NFL history.
100%.
True.
Documented.
Yeah. So with that being said, I think the one with the best playmaking ability is Justin Fields.
Well, yeah.
Hands down,
He's
right?
the most we've seen.
The one that, if I'm ranking them, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Jordan Love. I think when Jordan Love went at that late, nobody knew what he was then, just being real, and nobody knows what he is now also. I'm not giving up a whole lot to get Jordan Love. That's just me. I'd probably draft a second rounder this year than take Jordan Love.
Okay.
And that sucks because we hadn't seen him because of Aaron Rodgers' fiascos that he's had.
And how much do you really think I don't know, again, but from Aaron Rodgers' personality, I don't feel like he could learn a lot under him in terms of just how much time he'd spend with him. Like where some of these other quarterbacks, they learn under these other guys.
And Aaron kind of came out last year and was like, I don't mind teaching him up. He can just do it. And you look at that, tongue in cheek sometimes, like, yeah, whatever, man. But you won't. Not that Aaron Rodgers got to get out of the way, because if he's playing high enough, then you're going to roll with Aaron Rodgers before anybody else. The passing skills, I probably go with Trey Lance, because I feel like he's probably a better passer out of everybody in that group right there. If I'm going to pick one, I'm picking Trey, I feel like. Although I think the best athlete of all of them, player, is possibly Justin Fields. Playmaker is probably Justin Fields.
I don't know if that play would fit necessarily here.
Yeah.
But I do think he has the best upside because we've actually seen him play. We've seen him have playmaking abilities. We know he hasn't had everything around him to help. But look at, again, what was in Tennessee last year.
That's very true,
right?
too.
Trey Lance, I don't see this happening, but he's got the connections.
He does.
New GM. I think he has, like you said, the best arm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'd be the best fit. I just have not seen enough about Jordan Love. The film wasn't overly impressive coming out of college as it was. So, but it's not like any of these are really like glaring, like, wow, they would make the Titans team better.
Well, Trey, because I think of his playmaking ability, his ability to move down, and he has some accuracy, I feel like, better than most. I know
You think better than Ryan Tannehill right now?
Probably not better than Ryan Tannehill. No.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No, not in that case. If I'm building for the future, I'm go with Trey or I go with Justin Fields.
Okay.
Hands down. To me, Jordan Love, I don't even think has NFL timing down because he hasn't seen much film. I think as far as making let's say that same conversation with Trey Lance, at least he has, he has the system in place to where he's done more than what a Jordan Love actually have in game scenarios. I can't see Jordan Love ever getting a big time career in the NFL as it stands right now.
Well, we could say Malik Willis has had more playing time. We've seen more on him than
we have Jordan Love or Trey Lance. Jordan Love.
Answer is yes to both.
God, dog. So either
more
you
playing
hit
time. I don't know if he has more passes.
No, I know.
Trey
That's
Lance?
I mean, seriously.
Wrong.
Trey Lance's passes have been attempts, 71 attempts. He's had 102 attempts.
Jordan Love's played more games and has more passes than Malik Willis. Jordan Love's played 10 games. Malik Willis has played 8.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
what's
he has-
interesting about that is that none of us remember that.
I don't either.
I don't remember.
I don't remember
He's
that
played
either.
10 games and nobody remembers any of it.
That's kind of weird.
And a
I didn't know
couple
it
of
was
those
that
for
many.
Malik were like one snap in 3 of those games. So that technically counts as a game played for Malik. He really played more like 4.
If we're comparing one to the other, who do you respect throwing more, Trey Lance or Malik?
Throwing?
Throwing.
Trey Lance, throwing.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And this team needs a little bit of that.
Trey Lance, 56 for 102, 797 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks.
I can't believe he played in 8 or 10.
Both of them, Trey and Malik in 8 games. Jordan Love in 10. Yeah.
So in that case, too, why sell out for a rookie quarterback if you don't know what you're going to get to begin with?
And that's the point. That's the point I'm making from this TED Talk. Titans fans are very quick to think about getting rid of Ryan Tannehill and shipping him away. When you look at A, B, and C and the realistic options that fit financially into what you want to do, can you say definitively right now that any of them are better than who you have right now? Absolutely
No.
not.
No, not in this scenario.
It would be exciting.
It would
be fun.
Very.
But exciting and fun in the offseason doesn't really win you any
No, it
games
doesn't.
once the season actually starts.
Not even close to it.
We
So-
saw that with Julio.
We
Yeah,
do
we
this
did.
exercise.
And Jadeveon Clowney.
We do this
Yes.
exercise not to stir the sports talk radio pot as much as we do to inform you, honestly, and lay it all out there that if the Titans are deciding that under Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, they want to win this year, Ryan Tannehill is the best available option for them to do that.
So if this team does get good, Tannehill has a let's go 11-6, 12-5 year. You extend Tannehill moving forward because he's not that old compared to what he's capable of.
I think you tack on a year and spread out the cap hit.
You year by year at that point for Tannehill.
I think you tack on a year.
Because I just don't know if this team going to suck enough for them to be drafting in the top 5. I just can't see Vrabel allowing that to happen either.
Makes it hard, right?
Like, they might not
Yeah.
win the South. I can say that, okay, who's going to win the AFC South? Jacksonville or the Titans at this point, depending on what the coach do. But I don't think they're going to be trash enough to be in the top 10 picking, which is why the 11th overall selection seems enticing to go get a quarterback.
Let's continue the discussion coming up. 615-737-1045 is our number. And the most depressing element of this are where these guys were drafted compared to where the Titans are drafting this year. The luck of the draw of which quarterback draft you have available to you when you're picking in the top 15, Titans kind of drew the short end of the stick a little bit this year. Coming up next on our Bone, Kayla and Will, 1045 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Listen to me, y'all. Right now, I'm sure this month of February has you saying, what the heck? Okay, because it's going to be up to 80 by Thursday. And that means, Kayla, some people may actually have to turn on some air conditioning around here. And guess what's going to happen when they flip that switch, Kayla? It might not turn on, but I'm here to tell you, take advantage of it and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and tell them Ramon and Kayla or the 3HL crew told you to call, and you're going to get that service call for free.
You know what, Ramon?
What's
we
that?
love Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. You know why?
Why?
Because it's family owned and operated. They have been in business for over 20 years. And, you know, when you say family owned and operated, they actually mean it. Because from Kevin opening the doors back in 2011 while raising his family, now everybody's in the mix. And guess what? They can be counted on. They're not going anywhere. They deliver all the services that these bigger corporate guys offer, but with the delivery and friendliness of family. The Spring Hill Heating Cooling family responds promptly to issues and gets those problems resolved quickly and, most importantly, accurately.
I'm telling y'all, this week, don't get caught sitting on a swampy leather couch and it's sweaty in your house. You hear me? Reach out to Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, springhillac.com, and be sure to tell them that Ramon and Kayla sent you.
Check them out.
Join 104.5 The Zone and hundreds of other brave souls across the state for the coolest thing you'll do in 2023, the 23rd Music City Polar Plunge, Saturday, February 25th at Nissan Stadium. For more info or to register, visit specialolympics.tn.org/polar plunge today.
That's right. 104.5 The Zone's Joe Hunk will be there from 3HL.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
What's the weather supposed to be like? Do we know?
I was going to say, it's not going to be
Supposed
much
to be a little-
polar.
I
to
know.
A little
'cause-
rainy, I think, on Saturday.
Okay.
I'm emceeing a road race down the street on Saturday.
A road
Yeah.
race.
That's right.
Early morning.
It'd be good.
Like, if it's in the morning where they're jumping into the water, it's still cold.
It is.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's cold.
I'm not
Good
jumping
point.
in there.
So the depressing part about where the Titans are in 2023, drafting at number 11. A lot of years, drafting at 11 would be enough to kickstart a rebuild, draft your quarterback of the future. You'd be in good shape.
Yeah.
Justin Fields was drafted at 11.
Yeah.
I think Justin Fields is a really good quarterback.
I like Justin
No, I
Fields.
do too.
And
He's
he-
got
I kind of feel bad for
I do
him.
too.
Everything we're talking about is popping up behind us on Get Up. It's hilarious.
yeah, right. Which I don't like that, by the way. I don't
Sometimes-
like talking about whatever's on.
We just do.
Well,
Whatever's
no,
on
they're
Get Up.
finally listening to
Oh, they're-
us. You're
they're
looking at
following
this
us.
completely the
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
way.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about? We're leading the way.
Oh, that's fair.
They're
Come on,
copying.
That's
Come on,
fair. We're
Will.
there
Just
first.
saying.
Not everything is doom and gloom.
I don't
Will.
like
Come on
formatting this show like an ESPN show. No disrespect to them. It's just different.
Yeah, we
audiences.
formatted this yesterday.
now. I mean, if we're
We did.
big time, Will, then it's
Yeah.
okay to kind of say that too.
Well, I know. Different audiences.
Jeez.
Different audiences.
Basketball glory!
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Sometimes enjoy it, Will.
They
That's
did just say
the-
something
We can
interesting,
have
though.
nice things, Will.
We can have nice things.
Anyway.
Will.
We'll probably bring
Anyway.
up one of the topics they just asked for
it's
tomorrow.
us real quick.
The depressing part about where the Titans are is that a couple years ago, number 11 gets you Justin Fields. This year it gets you maybe Anthony Richardson.
Oh, no.
And that's not a long-term project I think the Titans should be signing up for.
For who again?
Anthony Richardson.
I don't even think that's in the
I like
mix.
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, but that's a project.
You do?
I do.
Yeah,
Since
he
when?
does. He
All
does.
right, watch me.
He's been saying it.
He's gonna surprise you.
So you who does he remind you of?
Himself.
Okay. Thank you. That's not the question I
So
asked.
original.
Kayla. Who does he remind me of?
Yeah.
Probably Cam.
Cam Newton.
Okay.
Okay.
Cam had a heck of a support staff in Auburn. Let's not forget that either. Cam
What do
grew
you
into
mean?
a better thrower, a better playmaker.
What do you mean by support staff?
The recruiting class, Cam won the national.
So
And also look at what's the head coach at Florida this year? Golly,
Billy Napier.
Billy Napier. That Florida team was supposed to be a whole lot better. The best game he played in the most competitive two games, Utah and Tennessee, Will.
Is that enough to be like, oh, he's a top 10 pick?
You know what?
Top 11 pick.
We didn't know much about Josh Allen.
Well, with that, go get Spencer Rattler.
Did we not? No, you're not getting a Spencer Rattler.
I'm
He's
saying
way
if you're
better than
going off
Spencer
of who
Rattler.
beat
We knew
who
Josh
played
had a
well
heck of an
against Tennessee.
arm.
No,
We knew Josh had a heck
Will,
of an arm.
Yeah, Josh. Well, so does Anthony Richardson. I'm on the Anthony Richardson train of believing this guy can be a really good pro football player, quarterback.
I'm going to push back on one thing you said.
I'm okay with that. Go ahead.
The receivers Cam Newton had at Auburn were not good.
His team's really good.
I don't think it was.
And his coaching staff.
There were two good players in that team. Because my Auburn grad friends and my roommate will tell me this all the time. There were two good players in that Auburn team.
Who?
Nick Fairley and Cam Newton.
Cam was just
but they
so
were
special.
both just like incredible players. Michael Dyer was good running back.
Moan, let me pose this.
Cam was
Go
so
ahead.
special.
Because I don't think you're necessarily wrong with Anthony Richardson. I just don't know if that's at the 11th pick of the draft.
No,
When
not
do
when
you
you
go
need a
pick-
line.
Well, no. We're talking about careers at this point. I thought we were past picking at 11.
Oh, so you're just talking about Anthony in general.
Yeah, I think Anthony's going to be a force in this league. I do. I'll stand on that one. If Shafe, you saved this clip. If I'm wrong, I'll stand on that too.
I'll
But
tweet it out.
I'm willing to say I think Anthony Richardson is a really good. I feel better about him than I do Will Levis.
How about Bryce Young?
Bryce Young? As far as comparing him,
I'm just saying, like,
Do I like?
Bryce
I do like
Bryce is an incredible, but he's small. We've talked about the
That's-
size. Like,
And I think he's naturally
long
small.
term.
I don't know if he's going to grow into being
Okay.
a thicker player, and that bothers me just a little bit. Do I think he have a phenomenal arm? Yes, he does. Is it strong to go down the field? I don't know how strong it is. Will he have to be in the offense to where a coach can say, we're going to Brady you, basically?
What I think is important for Anthony Richardson, if he is going to be a guy that you say he could possibly be, which I have no problem with you saying that, he's got to go to the right place where he's not going to get buried like all these other quarterbacks that have gone in the first round. And we see nothing from in 3 years. It's got to be the right situation.
I agree with you. I'm there on that one.
Because otherwise, I feel like it's waste.
I would feel more feared if he went to the Colts than Levis going to the Colts.
Okay.
I mean, the Kentucky blue fits perfectly with Indianapolis blue.
The Indianapolis
We've been
Colts.
saying this since October.
What's that?
That Will Levis should be the next quarterback of the Colts.
He could be, but then that's because I want to see the Titans win.
Exactly. Everybody does, right?
People like manifesting is like a big thing. I don't believe in all that stuff. But like you can just like say something and then it'll happen if you say it enough times. Like, yeah, if that was the case, my teams would have won more than one championship in my lifetime if I could just say things and it happened. But anyway, I'm trying to manifest Will Levis to the Colts.
Yeah, and I'm with the comments in our zone chat by saying O-line is for a rebuild. Yeah, I'm with that. I do believe that's the smartest take to take. But you're playing back and forth on what do you go get at 11. Like it's so many prime spots still their players at 11 though. This is a big pick.
Yeah.
Real big pick.
Coming up next, we'll take your phone calls, 615-737-1045. Fourth quarter of the show.
Four's up.
Flying by quickly on a Tuesday morning. Ron Slade joining us at 9:20. Much more still to come on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Old School Vapor. And you know, as a former professional athlete, I have aches and pains. Got one in my elbow right now, too, that I kind of deal with almost every single day. But I found Old School Vapor, and they are hands down the most knowledgeable when it comes to helping me get some relief.
You're exactly right, Ramon. As soon as you walk in, there is someone to greet you, guide you in the right direction. Pretty cool store. And I know there's a lot of pet owners out there. Ramon, I know you've got a dog too, itching right now. Well, they have so many choices for your fur babies. They might have separation anxiety or travel issues. They got you covered. Go shop Old School Vapor's selection of over 200 legal CBD products from brands like Loop or Torch, Hidden Hills, and a lot more.
Quick pro tip, gave Zeus a couple treats last night too, Kayla. He
Nice.
mellowed them on out, and he needed it, man. But if you also use Elf bars, Old School Vapor has over 100 authentic flavors for only $18.99 each. And you can check out the other sales like buy one, get one free for select Esco bars, 25% off glass pipes, and 50% off smell-proof bags too.
They're so easy to find. Check them out on Instagram or Google Old School Vapors to find your nearest location.
4 convenient locations in Franklin, both ends of Spring Hill, Columbia, and more to come. That's Old School Vapor. These products also contain nicotine, which is an addictive chemical, and you must be 21 years or older to purchase, and no sales to minors.
9:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. The Basket Vols dropped in the top 25 polls that were released yesterday. Tennessee down to 11 in the AP poll, 13 in the coaches poll. Those placements were after a mixed bag of results last week when they defeated then top-ranked Alabama and then lost to Kentucky. Vols in action tonight at number 25, Texas A&M. Tip-off set for 6. Pregame at 5:30 here on The Zone. The Indianapolis Colts expected to name VFL Jim Bob Cooter as their next offensive coordinator. The 38-year-old was most recently the Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator. To the ice, Bridgestone Arena tonight. Vancouver in town to take on the Preds. 7 o'clock, the puck drop for that. College baseball, number 3 Tennessee, their home opener this afternoon against Alabama A&M. First pitch at 3:30. Number 10 Vanderbilt at Hawkins Field, their home opener, taking on Central Arkansas. 4:30 the first pitch for that. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone and streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. A viewing experience unlike any other.
Yeah.
Right here on 104.5
Look at that
The Zone.
energy.
I know. Where
That was like a command under your voice.
Alongside NFL veteran, Vol for Life, Big Savagery,
Hey, take the surprise out of your voice.
Ramon
Ramon.
Talk to me.
our capitalized
There it
journalist.
is.
There it is.
You know.
Ramon.
Say my name.
Ramon. What? Say my name. I'm damn cool.
Do you respect the bad guy?
I love that guy, man. R.I.P. to the legend.
So good.
Looking forward to whatever Robert Walsh crafts up for our Big J journalist,
Better
Kayla
be good.
Anderson.
Trust. Bert, he's good. But that's some good pressure right there. Kate.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pressure.
come on, you got to bring it.
Add pressure.
And the man who needs no introduction except from the voice of the guy who joins us at 15 minutes, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer
There it
in the
is.
world.
That's right. I'm Will Bowling.
His name is Will Bowling.
And the time is now
Drop it.
9:04 a.m. Central Standard Time in America's Music City. The Tuesday morning house party. On a moment.
It is a party.
There it is.
I'm glad
Every
that it
morning.
just stops abruptly. Like, I'm so glad also that it doesn't like fade down. There's just like a scream, then it stops.
Yeah.
That's all it needs.
Good. That's all you need.
That was good.
615-737-1045. Ron Slay coming up, as we mentioned.
Yes.
Live from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Fayetteville. I wonder how far of a drive that is from the airport.
Ooh.
2?
No
From
two-
Little Rock?
From Little Rock to Fayetteville. I think Fayetteville, you got to have a private plane to fly off in there.
Ramon, it's there's no Ville in Fayetteville.
At Fayetteville.
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 I was close to going there. Boy, they recruited me hard.
Really?
Oh, my gosh. With the Andrews brothers that was there.
You'd have
Did
been
you like
worshiping
it?
the pig.
I didn't take my visit because
You didn't? Okay,
yeah,
you
I was in on UT kind of early. But their recruiting culture, like I was being recruited by like Houston Nutt and his brother,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
was on the team
Yep.
or he was on the staff and everything. Like it was strong, man.
Was that when they had the
Strong.
quarterback?
Who was that quarterback?
The one that
during
fizzled
era?
out.
Ryan Mallett.
All the expectations.
Ryan Mallett was right after you.
There's been
yeah,
some-
he
Ryan Mallett
was.
was what, like
I
2011?
feel like there's been so.
You would have played with Darren McFadden
I would have.
and Felix
yeah.
Jones.
I mean, I thought
And
about
Peyton Hillis.
that. I thought about that after the fact. I'm about to find you
Who
that
was their
quarterback in a
quarterback?
second,
Yeah, who was
Kayla.
there?
I'm on their roster right
it's
now.
gonna
Matt
haunt me.
Jones.
Okay, so that.
That's what I have. Quarterback Matt
Yeah,
Jones.
that's right.
You sound disappointed in that.
I am disappointed in myself. I should know that.
You should. Oh, you're saying you should know that.
Oh, yeah.
We won't win trivia that night.
So
Ryan
one
Mallett
thing
was
we
the
are-
quarterback I was talking about. by the
One
way.
thing we are going to do this summer is we're going to play RKW trivia.
Arcade. Oh,
Like,
No, I like with callers.
What's the subject?
Okay. I was about to
Because Ramon was really getting worried there.
I thought I was up against
Hey,
the gun.
how old is this person today? Hey, what did they star in? It's not Ramon's
It's not
strength.
good. I got a lot of other
We
strengths.
did that as a gimmick for a year.
I remember
Well,
that.
The fun
Not-
thing is
not
going to
my
be that,
wheelhouse.
and this is the first time I'm telling any of you this, but
that's good.
I'm unilaterally deciding that one of our topics
Yeah.
will be Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson trivia.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, we'll like ask a question to the people about y'all.
You know more
Or
about
is that
us than we
approved
do.
by us?
Or like, well, no, like you would make the questions.
Oh, okay, good.
Of like
I thought
stories.
you were making them. I was like, what's going on here?
No. You'd make the questions of like stories you've told on the show. That way people
Yes.
are incentivized to listen to the show.
Oh, okay. For sure.
Man, Kayla was about to pull a blade there.
Now, look, I'm a
Switchblade.
radio
I
professional.
You got
What
a
are we
jacket
doing?
on today. It wouldn't
I got
shock me if
two
you had a
different
blade
blades
in
in
there.
here.
There's a machete in there, man.
Golly,
You never
Kayla.
know what's in the pockets here.
But I feel like we'll have like Titans questions. Like you can do like pick like different topics.
Yeah.
You can pick show trivia, and then something random like U.S. history, or like European history.
Will's dating life.
There we go.
That's going to be a really small.
Can we
topic.
discuss that? We can discuss that now.
Oh,
Everything's
that was going to
open.
be in the potpourri category.
Everything's open.
It's like a Russian roulette of like you get one of these 5 options, and maybe that's one of the 5 options.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh.
Hey.
There we go, Will.
Oh my gosh.
Way to play it up, dog. I'm here for it.
So what do you? So we don't get anything about you though.
I mean, we can.
Oh yeah, I'm
But
definitely
I'm not that interesting.
Well, that's the thing.
There
He has
you
said
are.
a lot of things about his life on this show. It's just no one cares.
Yeah, that's right.
hearing you say you
Y'all
need
are-
it.
Y'all are the ones that tell me to talk about myself more, and I'm like, no, nobody
You should.
cares.
Everything's content around
No.
here, baby.
I'm here to set y'all up.
Yeah. You got a dog yet? No dog yet?
I don't have a dog.
He's got a
You don't?
girlfriend.
Ooh.
So let's take it easy here.
Okay, you're right.
Step by step
One
there, Mom.
at a- You're right.
Come on.
Getting a boo thing and a pet probably
Yeah.
ain't the sweetest thing
I
because
haven't.
then that becomes your relationship pet, I'm sure. And if you break up with the pet
I
in
have
the middle,
heard. I have heard stories about this.
divorce court for a dog, come on, Will. I don't
I've
wanna
seen
live
that happen
life.
with college friends.
Have you really?
That would get a girlfriend and then get a dog, but then the girlfriend ends up taking the dog, even though the dog was mainly theirs in college.
Dude, I've seen that break.
I've got a buddy
Hey,
that's going to text me in like 2 seconds.
I ain't
listening
kidding.
To this show.
I've seen that break some men.
no.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
that's the thing.
In the divorce, they're
real.
like, yeah, they took the money, but then at the end they sigh and go, but they took my dog. I've seen that break men.
Yeah.
What?
Break them.
Man's best friend no more.
Never get a dog with a girlfriend.
Never get a dog
Ever.
with a
How
girlfriend.
about like a hamster?
Not even that.
We definitely
Never
not getting rats.
ever
A fish
get a
in a
dog
bowl.
with
No.
a girlfriend.
Only way we're getting rats
A
is if we
hermit
have a
crab.
pet snake around there too. No, absolutely
Don't do
not. We're not doing those. I have heard people have the conversation though. It's like, what did you end up needing out of the divorce or breakup? I saw on TV, a guy was like, I didn't want anything but my sleep number bed.
Oh my god.
Honestly. No free shout outs,
That's
but
awesome.
respect.
So I ended up getting one. The NFL basically give you one.
There you go.
Does every NFL
Must be
player
nice.
own a sleep number bed?
Yeah, they give you one. They're based out of Minnesota.
So that's the thing.
and listen, I see why he wanted the sleep number bed.
They're that good. Really?
They're going to sign you along with Dak Prescott to be the
Dang.
official
I mean,
endorsers.
I
of
already
sleep number
used my
beds.
vouchers. I'm good to go. The thing is legit.
Voucher.
Yeah.
Let's go to
Harley
Rick in
Noah.
Hendersonville up next.
I was
Thank
just gonna say
you.
that.
615-737-1045 is our number. Good morning, Rick.
What's up, Rick?
Hey guys, I wasn't gonna call in, but I had to say get off the quarterback.
Oh, okay.
We need an offensive line. I don't care who you've got at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you build from within. I think Ramon would agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
He was the one talking about trading up for a quarterback.
No,
Rick?
hear me out, Rick. Hear me out,
Nah.
Rick. I'm saying if you got a guy that you really, really like and you're about to get rid of some people, and Will gave us the numbers that if Tannehill's released after June 1st, you get about $20+ million back. So it's just a conversation piece more than anything, Rick in humble Hendersonville.
Thank you for the call, Rick. Appreciate it.
I was waiting for a
Rick
response
was,
from my guy.
Rick was done with his statement.
Rick just wanted to say the O-line matters,
Hey,
which
and-
you should know that more than anybody.
That's what I've been preaching. You know, like I'm here for that, but I think it's interesting to be like, look, if you get a franchise guy for double-digit years if he works out. Like, I think that's okay to make that move if the guy is still there.
But what if you got those guys are there, like the Paris Johnson is there?
Oh, I'm taking Paris.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to.
Yeah,
you got to get, or there's a couple more guys that I would take.
Yeah, and all this got to shift out and like really break up a little bit. I think this is going to be one of the most interesting drafts we've had in a while.
And we have the quarterback discussion to lay out all the options in order to make the larger point that it makes more sense to go with a different position where you are.
It wasn't us necessarily saying
No.
that's what they should do.
We're giving you the options in order to make the point even clearer, in our opinions, that the quarterback you have is the best option and you've got other needs.
This just makes me proud of our audience and crowd, though. You know why? Because they bring it back to the OL. We never really get
They
praised
love
like
the
this,
OL
y'all.
now, baby.
615-737-1145.
They love the OL.
Believe you were false.
Now y'all realize we are people
Patrick
too.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
I didn't know Patrick Mahomes had talked to Ramon Foster before on the soundboard. So.
Yeah, man. Hey, this is beautiful, y'all. I appreciate y'all appreciating us, man, as your resident OL advisor.
Okay.
After that, I stopped actually listening.
Y'all done with
Thanks,
me
Mike.
now? Thanks, Mike.
Hey, Kyle Shanahan, will we be spending any more time on offensive line on today's show?
No, I don't see any scenario of that.
I don't either. 615-737-1045. Up next.
Now he's going to ask a question or make a statement just because he can. Just because you said that, Will, he's going to just go, and when I say he, I mean Ramon Foster is just going to go, hey, we're people too, blah, blah, blah.
Or he's going to ask Slay a question.
Yeah, then he's going to be like,
Come on,
we're
man.
people.
Y'all really won't let me talk about O-line.
some love.
Sometimes we just do.
I hate y'all.
He's going to ask a question to Slay about offensive line now. Or better yet, Slay in his defense of his brother Ramon. I'll ask him a question about Santiago Vescovi's performance in the second half against Kentucky, and Slay will hijack it and say, you know what, Will, I want to talk about offensive line. So tune in next to see if Slay takes Ramon's side or the rest of Nashville's. Next on 104.5 The Zone.
I'm the captain now.
It's Ramon Foster from My PhD Weight Loss. Listen to me, y'all. We're talking about the big guys on the show, and I'm here to tell you, we belong, okay? And I'm telling you, if you're a big guy right now that you want to get some extra LBs off of you, you got to go to myphdweightloss.com. Right now, your guy's still shedding. I'm shredding. Right now, I'm trying to figure out, should I start lifting? Right now, no, I'm focused on the weight loss journey. I had my breakfast this morning, had some coffee this morning, had my water this morning. And what My PhD Weight Loss do for you, it will give you a guidance. I talked to numerous guys that have been asking me about this program, and they say, man, I just don't know how to diet. Well, I'm here to tell you, I have a weekly call with my advisor, Rachel, every single Thursday. We go through what's going right for me, what's not going right for me, what do I need to tweak, what do I need to adjust. You're not in this alone. This is something that if you've been thinking about for a while, you got to get on board with it. My PhD Weight Loss. Most male clients lose between 3 to 5 pounds a week. Female clients lose between 2 to 3 pounds a week if done correctly. Again, I cannot stress it enough. MyPhDWeightLoss.com. Go see them and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Oh, yes. You know what that music means. It is time for a sleigh ride on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Will Bowling. That's right. And joining us from the place where both he and his brother, Ramon Foster, were a little interested in their high school playing days, from Arkansas. Joining us from Arkansas this morning is Ron Slay of 3HL. Good morning, Slay. How are you?
Man, what's happening, y'all? What's going on? What's going on, man?
Hey, we got high energy today, so you're coming in at a great time.
I've been peeping. Yeah, I'm watching you.
How's Fayetteville so far? As you do trips around the SEC, which I've yet to do.
Hey, Savage, man, I'm gonna be real. Man, Knoxville killing this, but I will say, like this a cool little college town, though, man. You know what I'm saying? You can tell that they love their team. It's always funny and getting used to, like, walking around and seeing people with all the team gear on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so used to being in Tennessee and stuff and seeing Tennessee and, you know, Vandy, Belmont, stuff like that. And you forget outside your bubble, like, people cheer for other teams, and they do have fan bases. So I'm sitting there like, dang, they got a whole lot of Arkansas gear up here. We're in Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, man, it's real cool. I did just have a great experience. Safe got to experience a little bit of it. I was jumping my Uber, and, you know, I drove Uber, you know what I mean, for a second, and had a good time doing it, you know, great conversations. But I know the Uber protocol, and the protocol goes as, when you get a customer in the car, it's about the customer. It's kind of like Burger King, you know what I mean? It's your way, right away, you know what I mean? Everything's up to you, you know, music, everything. Man, this brother was having a full-fledged conversation with some woman, I mean, and did not stop. I said, hey, how you doing, brother? That man waved his head like, hey, man, just get on in the car. I was like, oh, look. What? Hey, man, I'm the customer here, man. What are you talking about? So I get in the car. I'm thinking he gonna end the conversation. Man, this man rolled his window down, letting the air blow. I'm like, hey, man, it's about 50 right now, dog.
Right?
Hey, man, and this is the killer, Kay. I don't even know what they talking about. Like, I couldn't get in the conversation or nothing. They speak in Arabic.
That's the worst.
You feel me? Yep. So I'm just like, oh, okay, so y'all just got full-fledged conversation going on. I don't know what's going on. Matter of fact, am I doing y'all a favor or y'all doing me a favor? Because it seems like I just need to get out and walk. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm disturbing something right now.
Until you said the Arabic part, Slay, I was going to say that's crazy that Kirby Allen Kirby went all the way to the airport just to drive you around in Arkansas.
No, that was something else crazy, too. I heard Savage talking about Fayetteville and, you know, this. So what I'm giving y'all right now, listeners, man, I'm just giving y'all the journeys of Big Slay around the SEC.
Okay.
So this right here, I heard Savage say, man, I think you got to have a private plane or something to get in here. Well, to answer your question, Savage, I did a little recon work on it, and apparently, I'd say somebody made a very endowed donation to the airport here to go on and expand it. You know, I ain't talking about nothing but Sam's or Walmart, you know what I mean? But outside of that, you know, so they do got an airport, and it has been expanded, but it still only got 2 baggage claim carousels. You know what I mean? So it's small, but it's new. But it's
small
just enough so they can get in and out, check on their team, and get on back up out of here.
That's what I thought. I figured it was like that, man. I thought about going there very strong. They sold me with the Andrews brothers, and both of them went and played well in NFL, too.
Yeah, I wanted to, too, Savage. Like, that was my crush growing up. 91, 92, all the way up, man. And I actually had the opportunity, what was it, Friday night? About 11 p.m. at night. Now, I ain't going to tell y'all why the man called this man, but he answered. I got the opportunity to talk to Nolan Richardson. You know what I'm saying? Nice. Coach, the legendary coach, man, and it's late at night. You know what I mean? And I'm telling this man, Pat Bradley, do not call this man. He's like, no, coach, he going to answer. I was like, hey, dude, don't call this man. He called him, he don't answer. This man, don't wait until the morning. He called right back. Hey, dog. It's 11:30, 12 at night, man. What are you doing? No, coach gonna answer, and he answered.
He did,
and had a full-fledged conversation with us. And I was like, oh wow. When he got off the phone, I was like, hey dog, man, you don't understand how beautiful you have it to be able to call a legendary coach at this time of night. You ain't played for this man since 97, 98.
Wow.
And he's picking up the phone and not rushing you off the line. You pass the phone to me. He know exactly who I am. We have a conversation. Like, I was like, dog, man, I only had a couple coaches in high school like that. Coach Fitzgerald, Coach Terry Reynolds, and Coach Steve Smith, man, that I can recall on, man, that I have the relationship like I had now when I played for him for a long time and spent time with him. Man, that's different, dog. I was like, man, that's what you had, Savage. You know what I mean? Being able to call formal. Like, it's different when you got to call them legendary coaches, man, and they answer, dog. I was like, man, you lucky to have that, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Slay, I know you always look for the mascots of all the SEC teams that you visit. Will you or will you not be looking for Bobby Petrino's wrecked motorcycle?
He went there.
No, but what I am looking for, I'm looking for offensive linemen, man. To cone and let my partner know. That's more of the conversation that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So while you think I'm looking for mascots, no, I'm looking for linemen up here. I'm looking for conversations about linemen because that's what we got to do. We got to represent them to the fullest and cherish them while we got them because we also see just what happens when you don't have an old line.
Yeah.
And when they start podcasts.
Styles.
You preachers, that's for free right there, man. Hey, checks in the mail.
You did. You text him. I know you did. You're like, so you got to mention something about the O-line here.
I didn't this time, though, but
listening.
Right on cue.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page. You know what I mean? That's all.
Hey, Slay, we saw you earlier in the chat talking about, the Vols and maybe not having Josiah Jordan-James and Phillips, and if they don't have them, they could be in a lot of trouble. Like what?
Yeah.
It's just, are you just sold that if they're not playing, it's not going to happen tonight?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the thing, okay? Like, we got to keep this very, very simple. Believe what your eyes are showing you. Tennessee is a really, really good team, but they're a really, really good team when they're whole. Like, it's different. B. Rice he hit it all on the head. I've been saying it. Like, it's different. We talked about this from the Vanderbilt game. When you're playing a team that's, you take any team, Vanderbilt, you take South Carolina, you take Missouri, you take Arkansas, where they are right now, take Mississippi State. Like, in those games, the difference in those games are your guy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to get up to play Texas A&M. Everybody's going to get up to play Alabama. Everybody's going to get up to play Kentucky because of the tradition. You know what I'm saying? All of this, regardless if they down or what. But in the games where it hangs in the balance, you got to have a guy. Who on our team can you say, oh, man, they're going to go get 30 tonight.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it's a possibility they're going to go for 35.
Yeah.
Or they're going for 21 in 21 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Or they big man about to have 24, 12, 4 blocks and hit 2 threes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you look at that, and now you have the reason Vanderbilt is so hot right now because they have a lead guy in Liam Robbins.
Absolutely.
You look at all around the league, when teams get hot, even with Texas A&M, even though they don't have a spotlight guy, they got a guy, whether that's Boots, Radford, or Wade Taylor. Either one of them is going to be consistent that night. That's the reason they have the record they have. You look at Alabama, of course, it's Brandon Miller. You go on down the line. You know what I'm saying? Is the teams that are struggling are the ones that don't have that guy. The reason Kentucky just caught fire like that, the ball's in Casey Wallace's hands. It's no doubt who's going to have that ball when it comes down to the clutch. You know what I'm saying? And if the game hangs in balance, they got a guy to go to. So that's the whole problem, man. And that's why I feel like anytime they go into a situation, they don't have their pieces. It's like a puzzle. If you take a piece out of the puzzle, it's not whole. But if you got a big cog, a guy that's sitting right there in the middle of the puzzle, I can eat up that space. It's okay. We can miss that piece. You know, I can fill in for that. But that's not the way Tennessee is constructed. And honestly, that's never how they've been constructed. they've always had core pieces, and that's when you add the 5-stars in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like Kennedy Chandler. That's why they tipped the scale. That's why that team was so good last year, because when he finally got it, he pushed them over the hump. But everybody else was core guys. Grant Williams and them, everybody keep talking about that team. They were core guys. Mm-hmm. They just developed fast. The Admiral developed fast. Grant, 3 years developed fast, and he was able to go to him. If you don't have that, man, that's a problem.
And Slay, it's an interesting discussion because it's hard to complain about the "it's not about me" culture that Tennessee basketball has, and you feel like those guys and the way they protect each other and kind of love each other, like Rick Barnes tells us a lot, it is a positive. But to a point, where does that become a negative for Tennessee? Because I feel like this team needs a couple of jerks to take the bull by the horns a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't even necessarily think that's what it is. I think that culture is perfect and it's intact. I just think that, man, when you come down to it, you got to be willing to say, man, give me the ball, I'm gonna take it the shot, and I'm gonna live with it, die with it. It is what it is. You got to snatch me out the game, cool, but I'm taking this shot. Yes, it is guys that have it in them. Like, nobody's questioning the dog in Zakai Ziegler. Like, but he's limited. You know what I mean? That ain't a knock on him. He's just limited. He's small, little, like, whether they press up and he go in there against 7-footers, then, I mean, you're taking the risk of him getting the shot blocked. Vescovy, what if you put an athletic guy on him? Then you shut him down. You know what I'm saying? And then you do it without Josiah and Phillips. I heard Travis talking about Tyreek Key. That's what I thought it could be. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, why hasn't Olivier taken that step? So I don't think it's really about being a jerk or anything. It's just about being, hey, man, this the time. Like, Grant wasn't a jerk.
Right.
But everybody in the gym knew when it's time, give Grant the ball on the elbow and move out the way. Or if you push it up ahead and there's going to be an early shot taken, guess who's going to take it? Admiral Schofield. So it ain't really about the jerk. It's just those dudes had ultra confidence because of the work they put in, and they've seen it pay off. I don't know when you get to see this pay off. Any of those guys could go for 30, and we would never be surprised.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, offensively. Because you got to be able to play defense, you got to be a dog, because that takes something different to go play defense the way they do.
Which they have.
On the offensive end, it's the same thing.
Where are you at in your emotional bank when it comes to this team, Savage? Like, and that's where I'm at with it. Like, I'm engaged, I'm watching, but I'm just like, is this NBA level of, like, okay, pace until the postseason? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't think they're doing that, Savage. I think they're really out there trying to win.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think they're really trying to go through it, but I just don't. It's kind of weird, man. And when games hang in the balance, you got to be able to tell everybody to get out the way, or it naturally happens. That is the only thing they're missing. That's what made Kennedy so great. Towards the end of the season, he was going 1-4 flat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He had the ball and coming downhill and getting busy. Now, catching on the wing or anything, that was going to be a problem because of his size. But getting that ball at half court and coming downhill, it was trouble. I just, with my thoughts on it, if they're not whole, I don't really give them a chance. If they are whole, I do think they make shots in the moments, regardless of who it is, because the ball will find its way, and they will all be locked in and play that way. But I'm like what Kayla said earlier. I'm not shocked if they go on an Elite Eight, Final Four run, and I'm not shocked if they get bounced in the first. But at the same time, they've got to be whole. If this guy's missing, we can forget about it.
Yeah.
You can forget about it because you put people in other positions to have to do something. So I don't want to see Santi having to run the point. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Olivier having to go play the 5. I want to see him at the 4. And then if Josiah's in, then cool, bump him down. But that's the versatility you miss when you get these guys. Imagine how you can shrink your rotation. You really playing 7 guys, but you got actually 9 guys because 2 of those guys can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's tough, man. It's tough, man. You just hate to see it, man, when you don't have a guy, man, and you thought somebody would emerge. The reason they lost last year because Olivier, to me, was out. If Olivier would have been running that pick and roll and getting it short when they were giving it to him, Euros made all the right plays. The guys just missed the shot. I just felt if that was Olivier, he could have pulled up and shot that 15-footer at the free throw line, and it makes a difference. That's what he should have been watching, and that's why I felt the fire in his belly was going to be burning so bad to get back out there and prove everybody this year, man, I'm the thing that they were missing. Like he could easily go average 18 and 10, 18 and 8. Ain't gonna give him a double. 18 and 8. That's easy to do, man. The ball needs to go inside. Coach Barnes wants to go inside with the ball. Ain't no reason you shouldn't get it.
Are we equal with one Vols win against them and football equals 2 Vols losses against them and basketball when it comes to the Kentucky Wildcats?
Say it again.
Are we even if we beat them in football and they get us in basketball when it comes to the Kentucky Wildcats?
No, football. The football is just football in that situation.
Okay, so they're basketball school.
You playing way more tradition than like football. Is just for the bragging rights of the fans. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, hey man, we got our foot on y'all throat. We ain't never letting up. You know what I mean? Y'all don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? But in basketball, to beat them, you playing against way more than that current team.
Okay.
You playing against tradition, everything. So that's totally different right there in basketball, I would say.
Hey, Slade, did you called that Texas A&M Auburn game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you saw them in person. Like what when you saw them, and they've gone on a streak since then, what sticks out to you about this team that's making them one of the hotter teams in the SEC now, while they didn't start the season great?
They have exactly what Tennessee wants to have, the togetherness, the same thing they preached. It's not about me. It's seriously not about them. And you look at Buzz Williams, his track record, when Virginia Tech was upsetting Duke and it became normal for them to go play in Blacksburg and Duke to get beat, it was because of Buzz Williams making things happen.
Yeah.
He got them to buy into it just like it did at A&M. It took a little second, but man, them guys done bought in. He brought Boots with him from Virginia Tech, so you got a guy in the locker room that's impressionable and not only doing what he's supposed to do on the floor, but off the floor. And then I'm telling you, Kayla, I've never seen this. I've never seen this. At the end of their shoot-around, they all lock arms on the baseline, close their eyes, and walk 94 feet with Coach Buzz Williams in the middle, leading a prayer. And the prayer is different every single time.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just different. And you know what I mean? Like I ain't saying other teams don't do it. Like we know how connected Tennessee is, and we know what Coach Barnes gives. But they got guys, man, and they don't go that deep into their bench. You know, they wouldn't got transfers. Dexter Dennis, they wouldn't got him, but they all bought in, and man, they are not scared of the moment. At any moment, just like the game hangs in the balance, man, Wade Taylor would shoot that ball. Bruce Radford would get to the basket. Everybody gets downhill. That's another thing. Like they lead I want to say the country, at least top 5 in free throw attempts.
They do, and I think you're right on that. I think they do lead the country.
Yeah, so I mean, like they get downhill, so they put the onus on the ref to make the calls. If you don't, we still gonna play this type of way, and it is what it is. And they go up there and they make the free throws. So when was the last time Tennessee shot over 12 free throws? I don't even remember that. As we should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not like we out there shooting a lot of threes. They're not shooting a lot of threes no more.
Right. Yeah, they did against Alabama, and that was the only one.
Right, but it's like, man, it's wild, man. But man, I was so impressed in talking to Buzz Williams and the impact he has on those guys and the way they talk about him. I'm telling you, it's exactly like Tennessee, except you got guys offensively that are looking for the moment.
Slay, if you're willing to prolong your stay with us and wait to go look for more offensive linemen in Arkansas, I want to ask you after the break about a couple other teams in the SEC, a little bit more about Vandy and their tournament resume and what makes Kentucky such a difficult matchup for Tennessee. If you've got a couple more minutes to hang out with us.
Only one way I do it, Will. If you say right now, O-linemen are great.
Oh, gosh. Say it, Will, else we're going to go to break, so say it.
All linemen are great.
There we go. Yeah. Peer pressure.
Go to break. Remote Kayla Will, 104.5. Go to break. Ron Slane with us for one more segment on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Check out Arkansas and Georgia on the SEC Network. It's Ron Slay back with us from Arkansas. You've seen a lot of Georgia, haven't you, Slay?
Yeah, man, and I actually like what Mike White is doing.
Yeah,
it's taking him a second, but he got 3 guards, man, that are a problem. You know what I'm saying? Quindle, Terry Roberts, once he gets his, he's coming back from concussion, but he played the last couple of games, but he still got to get his feet up under him. And then Hill at the point. Hill, man, he's young, and it's kind of like waiting on everybody to tell you to go. But boy, he got something in him. As soon as he figures out, just because he's young doesn't mean he has to sit back and wait. He can command the leader of this group. They're going to be really good.
So, Slay, this Kentucky team that beats Tennessee on Saturday, now twice, what about them made it such a difficult matchup for Tennessee to go against that team? Or is this just Tennessee not having the right mentality in that game on Saturday? Basically, what I'm trying to ask you is, was this more about Kentucky being a bad matchup or Tennessee's own weaknesses?
I think it was more so about that first game being an anomaly, and when you go through this series, that's usually how it goes. Whoever wins the first game, the second team comes out and beats them the exactly same way that they beat them. And in this case, you miss 2. It's as simple as you miss 2 of your guys. You miss two of your athletic wings to combat their athletic wings, and I mean it's actually that simple. You know what I'm saying? Chris Livingston is running around at 6'8", probably about 215, and it's all-American talent. You know what I mean? Regardless if he played up to it, he has that talent. And, at some point when the season catches up, he's going to be able to, tap into that talent. And that's exactly what's happening because Cal has been forced to play him. So they're getting in the groove and understanding what each other has to do, and they're not coming out of the game. So they get to play through mistakes and everything. And he's kind of forced, Cal is, in a sense, to play him because he has a limited roster with Frederick being out and not really wanting to play Wheeler and Wheeler being hurt at the same time, whichever excuse you want to use. But I think it's more so Tennessee just having their guys out, man. It ain't no. This ain't hard to figure out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You take your best 2 athletes on your team and you can't play them. Yeah, it's different. Like Phillips is 6'8".
Yeah.
Josiah is 6'6", 6'7". You know what I'm saying? Like you take that off the floor. Who drives to the hole better?
Yep.
And can finish closer to the basket than Julian Phillips.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't think of one. So
it's like having Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill out there without no offensive line, right?
You just missing them. It's very, very much, especially when O-line are the greatest.
I guess you really want to go play, don't you?
I'm not in play.
No, he just really wants to troll is what he wants to do.
I'm going to make him uncomfortable.
I couldn't miss that shot, right? No, I do not want to do a tryout. I don't want to run a 40. I don't want to do the 225 bench, vertical, long jump, or none of that. I'm good. With that said tonight, Saj, what can we look like on your call with A&M? A&M and
no.
A&M Tennessee is different. That's different.
Yeah, different game.
Arkansas, Georgia.
Arkansas, Georgia. You've covered Georgia two times already.
It's all right, Savage. You know what I mean? You're all over like me.
I am all over.
What's the name? I can't wait to see Arkansas up close and personal, man. With Nick Smith coming back, they got 4 guys: Anthony Black, Walsh, Nick Smith, and Council. All can be first-round picks. So to see them up close, I can't wait to see and how they get him back acclimated. This will be, I think, the 3rd or 4th game with him being back, maybe the 3rd. And he makes a difference, but I got to see him up close, and see how they go against these guards. And I want to see how Georgia responds, how Georgia comes back and plays, on the road against a talented bunch like this. Anything can happen. It's difficult to win on the SEC road, but at the same time, I want to see how these fans up here at Arkansas, how they feeling about their team, because they've been struggling too, trying to get it together and, work pieces in. So it's up and down. It's up and down for everyone in this league, and everybody has their time outside of Alabama and Texas A&M. Everybody else has been struggling throughout the season. It's ups and downs. They go through 4 or 5 game paces. You look at it, man, the way Vanderbilt plays. You look at it a month ago, people were asking for Stack's head. Now he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. When I was telling them since last year, just give the man an opportunity. Sit back and relax, Vandy. That's all y'all got to do. Candace Lee ain't silly. She knows what she's doing. She went and got a coach that really wants it. And it takes time, man. You got to have – it ain't about the coaching sometimes. It's about the players buying in to what they're seeing. You see what Coach Barnes sits on the podium and says, I don't know. I'm telling these guys every time, shoot it. I'm taking them out when they don't shoot. So for us to sit there and say, man, why these dudes ain't shooting? Nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? But it couldn't be the coach's problem every time.
That's fair.
Slay, have a good call tonight.
Go find a hog to tie up.
Hey man, yeah, that's what I need somebody got to get in touch with Traylon Burks, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to look for. I need that little knife he got, that little pocket knife he got, and some of them dogs. I'm going to get something.
We are back at it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Ramon Foster sends us on our way out.
That'd be a great barbecue, Savage. But you must remember your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot, baby.